Tonight's edition of our Nation Sports Show is dedicated to the memories of Real Cormier and Mark Pavlovich, who both passed away this week. Cormier was drafted in the 1991 MLB draft by the St. Louis Cardinals. Besides spending his times with the Cardinals, he also spent years with the Boston Red Sox, the Montreal Expos, the Philadelphia Phillies, and the Cincinnati Reds. USA men's Miracle on Ice hockey team who defeated the Soviet Union in the gold medal game 4-3 on February 22nd, 1980. Pavlovich also spent time in the NHL with the New York Rangers, the Minnesota North Stars, and the San Jose Sharks. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we dedicate tonight's show to Mark Pavlovich and Real Cormier. Just when you thought the world of sports' news didn't get any crazier, breaking news came down this week in the National Football League as the Dallas Cowboys signed their quarterback, Dak Prescott, to a whopping 4-year, $160 million contract. Now, the big question remains. After having his season cut short last year due to injury, is Prescott worth the money the boys paid him? Also, after taking 2 insane in the membrane trips to the Wild Wild West, tonight we continue our 2021 MLB season preview, this time in the NL Central. Also, joining us tonight, special guest at 7:30 is former Chicago Cubs, Chicago White Sox, Tampa Bay Rays, Texas Rangers, Toronto Blue Jays, Los Angeles Dodgers, and New York Yankees pitcher, Tanyon Sturtze. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it again. Let's get ready to rock and roll. The nation speaks next. From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Busted Up Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, Jon Blayne, Carl Rock, Kevin Statman McDuck, Ezra Vicker, and Stephen Wyand.
Good evening, everybody. How the hell are we doing on another episode of the Our Nation Sports Show coming at you like we do every Thursday night right here on YouTube? If you want to get in contact with us, there's one of 3 ways that you can do that. Option 1, if you are on Discord, go to Our Nation Sports Show, scroll all the way down. When you see that word, go in there. That's where you can get in contact with us. Option 2, if you're watching us on YouTube right now, go to the chat, ask us anything in there. We'll be more than happy to answer your question in there. Or option 3 is our social media. Plain and simple, go to Twitter, go to Facebook, go to Instagram. We're on it all. Have a great group of guys with me tonight. As always, I have the usual crew, Carl, Statman, and Stevie Wonder himself. But let me first bring on our guest co-hosts tonight from the Windy City. As you can see by his hat, Ezra. Ezra, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing good, man. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Now going from Ezra, we're going to head over to up to Boston because, even though we're having a Yankee on tonight, that should be for an interesting convo. Going to Statman. Evan, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing pretty good from, as you can see from my background, my snowy perch up in the mountains of Skyrim and Tamriel. And if you know, you know. Hoping we're having a good show tonight. And I promise there won't be any major fireworks. There won't be any major bad questions towards our guest tonight. As a Red Sox fan, I will behave. Promise.
Well, if you don't behave, I can just mute you.
That's fair, but I still promise. I still
Okay.
promise.
Okay, as long as you promise, that's all that matters. We're gonna go now to our audio producer, Stevie Wonder himself. Steve, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing great, man. Man, after a crazy week in the world of sports, man, let's go. It's gonna be fun.
And last but not least, we're gonna go to the guy who purposely wore all Red Sox gear tonight for our guests, and that's one of my right-hand men, Carl Roberts. Carl, how you doing tonight, buddy?
Doing great. Let's get going. And I also promise, just like Kevin, to behave with the Yankee.
Yes, folks, we keep saying the Yankee because at the bottom of the hour, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll be joined by former Yankee pitcher Tanyon Sturtze. Now, Carl and Kevin remember him fondly for happened in 2004 when their team decided to make that comeback. But
Well, it's not even that. There's a bigger question once he gets on that Kevin knows about, a certain incident that happened in a game.
we'll get into that with him. Don't worry. Don't
Trust
worry.
me.
Oh, I got my own questions about maybe not that certain incident, but I have my questions about a couple things regarding that time period in Major League Baseball history.
Okay, but yeah, let's hold off on that till we get to that. But
Yeah.
Carl, let's go to you first because you had two specific stories, as you said to us Monday in our pre-show meeting. Two specific stories you want to start off with. So the floor is
You
yours.
want me to go into my rant now?
No,
or do you
about
want-
the hockey and the golf.
Sorry.
Rants we're gonna hold off till later.
Okay. So on this past Saturday was the Arnold Palmer Invitational. And there was an amazing feat that happened there. A gentleman, hold on, I got to pull this back up again. Sorry, guys. He drove the ball 550 feet, was almost on the green in one shot. That is a feat that has never been done. The most you're driving is anywhere between 300, maybe 350 on a drive. This guy hits it almost the green on the first drive of the hole. His name is, where is it? Sorry, guys. Golf. And he actually won the Invitational too, which is a big, huge fight with that. Well, not a fight, but it's unusual to have a long drive and then win the
Tournament.
that tournament. His name is Bronson DeChambeau. And it was literally an amazing feat that he pulled off. So that's the first one. It was it's the sixth hole. It's a par 5. So when they say par 5, regulations is 5 shots, you're on the green or in the cup.
Yeah.
He hits it off the tee, 555 yards.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Big, long drive.
That's what she said.
He ended up 50 yards to the right of the green.
Okay.
I'm just watching it now.
And he traveled
Oh.
370 yards rolling.
Okay, now, Carl, you're the golf guy on the show.
Yes.
Is the likelihood of that like very, very slim?
That's slim to none. I mean, I could drive on a normal course. You're driving anywhere between 275, 315, maybe 350. Never doing a 555 yards with a ball rolling 370 of it.
So I guess you hit at the right angle and the wind, and a lot of stuff can go your way.
Like that is amazing. Like next time that he's on the course and he's up for the first, part of that game. Oh my God. Like the people are going to be like, wow, is he going to do it again? Like that is amazing. Like that's unheard of.
Exactly. And then you said hockey. Oh, we were talking about the Miracle on Ice.
Yes.
Unfortunately, when we went off the air, we woke up Friday morning. Mark Pavlik of the 1980 U.S. Olympics team up in Lake Placid, New York, that beat the Russian team that has never been beaten in their entire career at this point, passed away at the age of 63. He's had some medical issues, and unfortunately, he succumbed to the injuries. So if you could, please keep the family in your prayers on that one.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Real quick, while we're talking about in memoriam, we also mentioned Cormier. And unfortunately, he was battling the biggest disease of them all, the big C. He was fighting cancer, and at the age of 53, he succumbed to cancer over the weekend. So please keep your prayers and thoughts with them, with the family there. But also, too, guys, no offense, cancer can hit anytime. Try and see if you don't feel right, go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. Doesn't matter what it is, get yourself checked out.
You better be safe than sorry.
Right.
But yeah, I want to get to one other story. And this one I read, this one happened a little bit before we came on air tonight. As many of you guys know, it's March. And one of the big things in March is March Madness. Now, normally we don't get into college basketball that much. But when I saw this story today, the smoke was coming out of my ears.
I know which one you're going for. Go ahead.
I know what you're going for. Go ahead. Yep.
A lot of the Big East tournament happened at Madison Square Garden. Now they had a game today between Georgetown and Villanova.
Correct.
Now, like I said before, we don't normally talk college basketball, but let me ask you guys this question. You guys know who the head coach of Georgetown is?
Patrick Ewing.
The one and only Patrick Ewing.
Yep.
Okay. They ended up defeating the Wildcats today. 72-70. Hoyas defeated the Wildcats 72-71. When he got to the arena, now mind you, Patrick Ewing played his entire career at the Garden. The guy's freaking jerseys in the goddamn rafters.
Yep.
And
It's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
With
And
the New York Knicks.
and security asked him for his press credentials. Now, if I went to the Garden, or Carl went, or Ezra went, or Stephen went, well, Stephen wouldn't know where it is anyways, but or Kevin went.
He drive, we die.
But if they asked any of us, okay, fine, that would be understandable. This is Patrick fucking Ewing we're talking about here.
A legend in New York.
A legend, a guy who took the Knicks to the 1994 NBA Finals against the Houston Rockets and took them 7 games.
But I'm sorry, this is not the first time that a past Knick came back to the Garden and got treated like crap. Do you remember a couple years ago the whole incident with Charles Oakley?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is, and I'm talking directly to the camera here, James Dolan, if you're watching this, you probably know who I am because I have chastised you a lot in articles that I've written about you. Sell the team. This is not how you treat the guys who have helped build this damn organization. Think about it for a second. When Steinbrenner was around, he didn't treat past Yankees like this. When Fred Wilpon was still owner of the Mets, he didn't treat past Mets like this.
Nope.
Not even that. It's not even that. You have a coach of a winning basketball team from college in your facilities, and you take his credentials? Get the hell out of here.
This guy took I failed to mention too, he took the 1999 New York Knicks against the Spurs to the finals. The last time the Knicks did something was with Patrick Ewing. Patrick Ewing is a guy that does not need to have his damn pass credentials questioned. This guy helped the Knicks become something.
Here's the thing, though. He was asked today in the press conference. He turned around. I want to get the quote correctly. He said, "Everybody in this building should know who the hell I am." Done. I don't care.
Exactly. Patrick Ewing has spoken the truth.
I don't care if you're not a Knicks fan or you've never seen a lick of basketball before. I'm sorry. You should know who the fuck Patrick Ewing is.
I mean, geez, I don't know. When, quick wrestling note, when Kurt Angle was at the Garden, he mentioned Patrick Ewing in his promo. Oh, if we were waiting on Patrick Ewing and the Knicks win a title, we'd be waiting forever because everybody knows who the hell Patrick Ewing is. And these idiots should know who this guy is because Ewing made the Knicks something. And the Knicks haven't been
Not only that, everybody in the world knows who he is because remember, he has done basketball movies.
Yes.
Yep.
The biggest one that was out there was Space Jam because the damn alien stole his stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, even a guy like me who's not the biggest basketball fan knows who Patrick Ewing is. You know, to have a security guard be like, "Where are your credentials?" Oh, F out of here. Come on.
Get out of here.
Hold on. MSG released a statement today.
I was reading that. It's a bunch of bull.
What did they say about Mr. Ewing?
MSG released a statement to ESPN later in the day that read, James Dolan and Patrick have a long-standing relationship. They spoke this afternoon and reaffirmed that we all know, respect, and appreciate what he means to the Garden and to New York. Good luck to him and his Warriors in the Big East semifinals. I'm sorry. You shouldn't even had to have put out a fucking report today. I'm sorry.
No.
There is absolutely no reason for a statement. This should have never happened to begin with. Patrick Ewing built Madison Square Garden for fucking God's sakes. The man built it when he was a part of the Knicks. Give me a break. There should be no reason for a statement to happen.
And here's the best part.
He's basically what Babe Ruth was to baseball.
Exactly.
It's funny.
Nope.
Here's the thing also he said in his press conference today. He said, I'm going to call Mr. Dolan and say, geez, is my number in the rafters or what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. To me, if I'm Patrick Ewing and I have a security guard come up to me and go, oh, what's your press credentials? I go, come here. See that number right there? That's mine. Not many people can say they have a number in the rafters of Madison Square Garden.
Exactly.
And Ewing can because he busted his ass for that organization.
And here's an interesting tweet from Rich Eisen of the NFL Network. Oakley, Spike, Marv, Ewing. I mean, really, who's left to alienate at Madison Square Garden? Billy Joel? Like, Dolan's just got this track record of just being an absolute ass clown.
Okay.
It really does.
Here, I just looked it up quickly. The numbers who are retired by the Knicks. Okay.
Mhm.
You have Walt Frazier.
Yes.
You have Earl the Pearl Monroe.
Yes.
Shoot, I forgot about that. Yeah.
You have, this is according to a website called, hold on. You have, like I said before, you have Walt Frazier, you have Earl Monroe, you have Dick McGuire.
Yep.
You have Willis Reed, you have Bill Bradley, you have Dave DeBuscher, Patrick Ewing, you have Red Holzman. Those aren't some run-of-the-mill names here.
No.
You think of Knicks basketball when it was at its prime and not what it's been doing now. Yes, they're good now. Don't get me wrong. They're playing well now in the second, they're coming out of the second season starts tonight. They're playing well now. But I'm sorry, when I think of Knicks basketball, I don't think of the team now. I don't think of the team 10 years ago. When I think of Knicks, I think of Willis Reed. I think of the guys who helped build the foundation for this team.
The way that the Knicks organization, Madison Square Garden, is treating Ewing like this is utter garbage. And you know what? I bet you tomorrow on Sports Talk Radio in the New York region and on satellite radio, especially Christopher Mad Dog Russo and Adam Shine, they are going to bombard the shit out of MSG with this crap.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's ridiculous.
Hold on. I have to get this off my chest. And like I said, folks, there's another rant coming in later tonight. Mr. Dolan, if you're watching this, sell the team. You have done nothing for this organization since you took it over in 2001. You have pretty much alienated your entire fan base at this point. And why the hell are you going after your fucking legends? I'm sorry. To me, it's ridiculous. To me,
Learn fucking respect.
Exactly. They're the reason. That's the other thing I want to say. The guys like Patrick Ewing, Willis Street, Earl Monroe are the reason why the Knicks are where they are right now. They're the foundation for this team.
Mm-hmm.
You talk to any Knicks fan, a lot of them, not to criticize Knicks fans because I'm a Knicks fan myself. I don't remember the last time they had a winning season. Yes, you can go back to 2012 when they had that, when they had that 55 winning season. Okay, great. But they made it to the second round, lost to Miami because Amari Stoudemire decided to punch a freaking wall and break his hand before one of the games.
Yep.
Then before that, the last time you have to go back with the Knicks is 99. Patrick Ewing.
Finals.
And then before that was when? The 70s? But it was guys like, Wolf Frazier?
Yep.
Oh, no, wait, never mind. Early 90s. When the Knicks had that incredible rivalry with Indiana. But this is my point, though. It's not like we're talking about a team here that makes it to the playoffs every year, that always makes a run, that okay, this team has done shit. And especially since Dolan has owned this team, they have become garbage. They have become a joke. It's pathetic. It's ridiculous. It's moronic. Dolan, sell the fucking team.
Worst ran organization ever.
I'll say this right now. When you look at New York teams, Stephen, I will agree with you on that. The Knicks are are the worst run organization.
To be fair, I did say the Mets were, but no. After today, no, sir. The Knicks are the worst ran New York team in North American sports history. Patrick Ewing, where's your pass credentials? Get the hell out of here. Come on.
Holy crap. And I didn't think I was going to be blown up like this.
And we're not even 30 minutes into the show.
Believe me, what's going to happen come when I do the second one? I'm going to
Believe me, I might lose it with the one I want to talk about tonight.
We'll get
Especially with me as well. Yeah, We're gonna
I'll make sure to have EMTs on standby.
Yeah. We're gonna lose our minds tonight, folks. If there's not any bodies flopping around here, dropping like flies, then geez, I don't know what happened because these people are making these stupid decisions with their credentials and shit.
I know we have this rule on the show that we limit the amount of F-bombs.
That's out the door today.
Yeah, we've already had 3.
I think I just killed that in the first 20 minutes of the show.
Hey, if you flop to the ground, at least your flop will be more believable than Braun.
Oh, shit. But if you listen on Discord, let us know. What do you guys think? What do you guys think about this whole thing with Patrick Ewing today?
Discord and Facebook, YouTube. Let us know, guys.
YouTube as well. Tweet it to us. We want to hear from you guys. Believe me. I love talking to these guys, but I want to hear some more voices on the show.
Man, not even 30 minutes into the show, we're already starting off hot.
Holy crap. Okay, let's get into some quick, unless anybody else has anything else they want to add on to with the Knicks.
We said enough.
We're good.
He said enough.
I covered it. I covered it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got 11 minutes before our guest shows up.
Yeah. Let's get to some NFL news quickly because, man, and we'll get to the news that Mark's in New Mexico just mentioned.
I was just about to say that one.
And Ezra, this involves your team.
Yes.
According to Brad Biggs, after a record-setting season, the Bears have agreed to terms with Santos on a $16 million deal, 5-year contract with a max value of $17.5 million. Final 2 years of the deal are avoidable, so it's really a $9 million 3-year deal with a max value of $11 million. He's a kicker.
Yeah, man.
What the hell?
He's getting paid almost $11 million to kick a ball, what? A couple of times a game?
And he's good at it.
I hope to
And he
God.
deserves the money.
I hope to God that the good Lord has blessed him with a magical, powerful leg, because the simple fact that you're paying a damn kicker $11 million, come on. I might be blind, but you're not going to pay me that kind of money to kick a damn ball. Come on. He's not the most valuable player on the team. Your quarterback is, you idiots.
Well, he's not getting quarterback money. He's getting kicker money.
I know, but at the same time, you're paying this guy like he's so important. Come on.
Well, let's see.
I mean, this is why the Chicago
up.
Bears are not going anywhere for the next several seasons.
Well, that's not the reason they're not going to go anywhere.
I know. I mean, Trubisky's number.
Unless it's true that Chicago is doing whatever it takes to get Russell Wilson, they're going to be in no man's land for years.
Absolutely.
Why do we ask the person on the show who's a Chicago fan?
Yeah. To me, the main problem with the Bears organization, and it's something I've said in previous, conversations on your guys' YouTube and Discord servers, is the quarterback situation. That's the thing we need to focus on. Look, Cairo Santos is a good kicker. He's gotten better over the past season or two. He's done great. And he's done some good magic for the Bears, and we haven't had a good kicker in a long time. Lord knows we don't want to remember Cody Parkey and him bouncing kicks off the post.
No.
God, I still have nightmares about that every once in a while, trust me. But they need to focus on the quarterback situation. And if they do get Russell Wilson and they're able to do something with him, I can't see why the Bears don't make the playoffs again. I don't see them winning the Super Bowl in their first year with Russell, to be honest.
No.
But not a chance, because they got to build that team chemistry. And so with that, I could see them maybe in a couple of years doing something a little more, maybe making it to the NFC Championship if they are able to get the moving parts in the right places. That's just my opinion on that.
Chicago, like you said, Chicago needs to spend their money a lot more wisely. Yes, this kicker is a good kicker, but you need to be spending money in important areas more than your kicker. I mean, the quarterback, the offensive line, the wide receivers, the defense, and all this stuff. Chicago can be a good team again, and it's got to spend their money wisely.
And I do agree with Mark. Mark's posted, yeah, the Bears were crazy to let Robbie Gould go years ago. And I agree 1,000%, man. He had one or two bad seasons, and we let him go, and that's a big mistake.
And
Robbie
he's had
Gould,
a
to
career
me,
resurgence
is still,
in San Fran.
Yep.
Yeah, he's still one of the best kickers to ever put on a pair of cleats, and he should still be a Bear if it wasn't for some inept decision making on management and ownership.
Yeah, I just think, he's good, Santos. Wasn't he with Kansas City?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, he started his career with Kansas City in 2014, was let go in 2016, was playing for Chicago and Kansas City in 2017, played with the Rams and Buccaneers in 2018, Tennessee in 2019, Chicago, obviously. But in Chicago, he's really, like, this season, he went 30 of 32 on field goals, 36 of 37 on extra points.
And wow.
And on kickoffs, he had 86 kickoffs. He had 42 touchbacks for a touchback percentage of 48.8%. Oh, that's going to tie in all these stupid little stats. Is going to tie into later on tonight. Anyway, I think he's worth the money. But you're right that there's other things the Chicago Bears should be going after instead.
Yeah.
I just want to bring up this point quickly. You look at any team who's ever won a Super Bowl, and it's going to be a far-fetched point, but you'll see my point with this in a second. Look at the most recent Super Bowl winners: Kansas City, Tampa Bay. Go back 10 years ago to the Giants. Have any of them won because they have an all-star kicker? Take out Justin Tucker with Baltimore.
Tucker doesn't count.
Tucker doesn't count this. But has any team focused that much attention on a kicker?
No offense. Take out Adam Vinatieri from the Patriots.
Yeah.
Ooh, and this is coming
Seriously.
from a Patriot fan.
Seriously, you take away Adam Vinatieri. I know Kevin's not liking that comment,
No,
but
because I'm a special teams guy. I love watching punts. I love watching kicks. Super Bowl 53, the last Patriots Super Bowl appearance and win.
right.
I'm watching that game and I got friends texting, tweeting like this game sucks. It's boring. It's stupid. I'm like, I'm loving this thing. It's a defensive game and it's all about special teams and ball placement and field of position
No,
battles. I'm
you're
like,
right.
this
And
is
I'm
awesome.
not
I love
disagreeing with
this.
you on that, Kev. But I'm just saying, if you take away Adam Vinatieri, what does the team got?
Yeah.
You don't need an all-star kicker.
No, but you
You
need a
just need
kicker that's
somebody
able
to
to go and
kick.
kick the ball.
Yeah, you just need somebody that's going to be able to kick the ball up in the fucking air through the
Yeah. And I mean, as much as Brady, the years and years have gone by since the first win in 2001. Yeah, look, I get it. We don't have Vinatieri. Maybe we don't win the Super Bowl, but we don't have Brady. Vinatieri doesn't have a good shot at making a field goal.
Right.
And
Right.
that's not just in the Super Bowl. It's also in the Raiders game.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like in that Super Bowl against the Rams. I mean, when Drew Blett, they're like, hey, protect that ball, Tom, and Blett was like, screw that, just go out there and sling it. And,
Yep.
and then in 2003, real quickly, when John Casey kicked that ball out of bounds 40 yards, Brady took full advantage and drove his team for Vinatieri to win the game.
Well, guys, I love the NFL talk, but our guest is here, so let's bring him on.
Bring him on.
We are now going to be
We-
joined by a guy who was in baseball from 95 to 06, played for teams like the Chicago Cubs, Texas Rangers, the White Sox, Toronto, and finished his career with the New York Yankees, and that is number 56, Tanyon Sturtze. Just waiting for him to connect it to his audio right now. Hey, Tanyon, how you doing tonight?
Sammy,
What's going
Yeah,
on?
We can hear you.
I can't hear you. Should have grown my shit out for this group, huh?
He sounds like he's in a galaxy far,
Motley
far
Crue.
away.
I can't hear you guys. Let me see what's going on here. Hold on.
You hear us now? No? Yes.
As you can tell, I'm really computer savvy.
Can you hear us?
Hold on, I'll try to do it a different way. Well, why my speaker's not working?
Oh, the fun with Zoom.
Ah, the fun, yes.
This dude got shades on and everything, man. I gotta go clean myself up and come back on this thing. This is crazy. Let me leave and come back and see if I get it working.
Okay,
Gotcha.
got you. All right, but yeah, folks, that's one of the perks of doing
This
live.
is what happens when you're live, pal. Anything can happen.
Yep,
We can hear him, but he couldn't hear us.
yep. But I think the best way we go about this is, I'll do that, and then I'll just let the two blessed fans have fun with it for a couple minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Relax, Johnny.
It's okay.
Relax.
Okay. While we wait for
We will
Tanyon,
eventually get into that incident.
Hey,
We'll get
if-
there.
Hey, John, if you don't mind me mentioning real quick, I know he mentioned something about hockey earlier, but I want to mention a real quick hockey news story that broke over the past week, and that was the retirement of Brent Seabrook from the Chicago Blackhawks. He played all 15 seasons with the Blackhawks team. He's a former three-time Stanley Cup champion. He was a part of that famous 2010 team where they won that game against the Philadelphia Flyers with that amazing Patrick Kane shot that landed in between the netting and the crease. And he unfortunately had some hip issues and arthritis that built up over years of being a defenseman and getting hit against the boards and the physical hard play that is hockey. And unfortunately, he was told by doctors that he can't play anymore. So
Also-
Stick tap to Seabrook, one of the best defensemen in the game. Thank you so much. And thank you for all the championships as always.
And also too, over the weekend, Wayne Gretzky's father passed away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, quick baseball note before we go back to the football stuff for a second. The Mets played today. They had a spring training game today. Today was also the debut of Jacob deGrom. He had 3 perfect innings with 7 strikeouts while touching 102 miles per hour.
Woo! Some
Spring
heat
training,
on
folks.
those. There's some
Oh,
heat
boy.
on that.
All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
so we're going to try this again now. We're being joined by 12-year MLB veteran, Mr. Tanyon Sturtze. Hopefully we can.
Yeah.
You can
You
hear us?
hear us now?
Look at that. See, I'm good. I am good.
What's going on? How you doing tonight, man?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
Doing
Good.
good.
Very
Good,
good,
man.
man. Very good.
Am I on the show with ZZ Top or what's going on with this thing? This is great. Look at these dudes. This is awesome.
We love some rock and roll, baby. That's how we roll.
Man, this is a group I want to have a beer with. My goodness.
Hell yeah.
Hey, anytime.
Yeah.
Anytime.
Holy
the right guys.
smokes.
Oh,
Where are you guys? Where is everybody at?
I know.
Jersey.
Jersey?
I'm Long Island.
Long Island?
I'm about 45 minutes southeast of Chicago.
Okay.
I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Yup.
About 45
Look at
minutes north of
everybody
Boston.
covered then, huh? This is awesome.
And you actually have one from Boston.
Where in Boston? In Boston?
No, about 45 minutes north.
Where?
Like Haverhill, Mass area.
Dude, I grew up in Worcester, man. I know.
I was just about to say, you're a
Oh,
Boston.
really? All right.
You're a New
Dude.
England boy yourself.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to burn that hat you have on. That's for sure.
Wait, which hat?
Yeah.
You got that
Which
Fenway
hat?
hat on. That Fenway hat.
Oh, come on. Yeah, Carl.
Oh my goodness! Look at this. How did I get roped into this thing? You guys are sliding back down the hill very quickly.
That's why I say neutral here.
What's
But-
happening?
This is
No.
my attire for every show.
I like it. That's all right. Listen,
He tries to be the Boston fan.
he tries to be.
I am a Boston fan.
Come on.
Start with me.
I'm not planning on starting with you there. But hang on, we're actually on the 1-year anniversary of this whole COVID situation here. Wanted to ask you, how has the last year been for you? Obviously, none of us are living under a rock, but how's the last year been for you with the whole COVID situation?
Well, listen, I mean, everyone's had a tough time with COVID, but luckily I live in Florida. So it's been, at least we've been able to live life down here, and our kids have actually been in school the whole year. So that's been a huge plus for us.
Yeah.
with
You don't
our
have to worry about the shutdowns or anything.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, so look at, like I said, our kids have been in school the whole year. It's been great. We've been very fortunate to be able to send them to class and be with their kid, be with their friends. I mean, they do have plexiglass around each one of their desks, but at least they're at school, and at least they're with other kids and being able to play with other kids and stuff like that. It's been great. We've been very fortunate. And listen, I mean, look at people in California. My whole family's still in Massachusetts. So, I mean, you guys in Massachusetts have it pretty tough too. Lockdown's been hard. And, New Jersey, New York, everything's been tough. It hasn't been easy.
The kids in my town, they actually just went back last week. I think it was started going back last week.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? I mean,
Since like October. It's like, really?
yeah, right.
I work in a school and as the day custodian, and I'm having such a tough time trying to like space everything out in an old building of like, okay, they have to be 6 feet, but I can't do 6 feet because the room is only this wide and can only fit this many. I'm also running out of desks and tables for these kids to use. So it's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough for everybody. I mean, thank God none of us own a restaurant. How about that?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Those poor people.
A lot of the restaurants that are able to be open. They've been doing takeouts and deliveries, so they've been surviving. But it's some of the other small mom and pops aren't able to do it, half of it.
How about if you have a restaurant in Manhattan and you got that rent coming up every month and you're only doing takeouts and pickups? That's not going to cover the, your rent for the month for that stuff. That's pretty crazy.
No, it's not.
You know?
Yeah. But Carl?
So what you played Little League when you were growing up, correct?
Yeah.
What position did you play in Little League?
Shortstop.
I was outfielder. But so growing up in Worcester, what was it like playing Little League and then going into high school for you?
Well, obviously the biggest adjustment, is making that step back to those 60 feet. You don't think you're strong enough to even make it to throw it that far. Listen, it's a big difference. You go from Little League to Babe Ruth to, you go to high school and stuff like that. And it's a big step. Obviously growing up in the Northeast, it's different because we don't get to play as many games as these kids do down here or on the West Coast or down South. And so, we all, I'm sure all you guys did, we all played different sports because there wasn't really a big season for each sport. So we didn't play 100 baseball games. We played 15 to 20 baseball games, and then you played 15 to 20 basketball games, and you played 15 to 20 football games. So it was completely different for kids, I think, growing up where we grew up in the Northeast, because the weather dictated what you were basically going to play. So,
and God forbid we got rain.
Or snow. Listen, I remember playing some high school games and it was snowing outside, for a high school baseball game.
Yeah, you guys had a little bit worse up there than I did down here.
Yeah, we probably had a little bit worse weather because we're a little more north, and where I grew up, I was a little more closer to New Hampshire, and it gets a little bit colder, and we get that big snow that comes through.
I know the town very well where you are from. I got family up there.
Okay. Yeah. So you understand what it's like. It gets cold. The winters are tough. And I don't know how my 73-year-old mother's still staying there. I've asked her to move down about for 10 years and she hasn't moved. So.
Oh, wait. No, they're stuck in their way. Forget it.
Yeah. There's no getting them out of that, right?
You can't get.
My dad's parents keep going more and more north.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was Brentwood, Stratham, then York, then North Berwick. Like, why do you keep going more north? It's colder.
You're gonna be in Maine pretty soon.
But Kevin?
Yes.
Questions?
So my question, so obviously you had time with the Yankees, and it was during the heyday of the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry. I guess my question as a masshole, let's say, what was it like as a Boston guy, a Worcester guy, putting on the pinstripes, playing against the Red Sox every year, especially during what is probably the most heated the rivalry has been in the last 20 years, from like 99 to about 2006, 2007. Like, what was that like for you? Like your thoughts, your feelings on that?
Well, obviously a job for me, right? That was the first thing for me is a job. Obviously looking in the stands and seeing my father with a Boston Red Sox hat on didn't help things. So,
I'm sorry for laughing, but I can picture it.
You guys understand exactly where I'm coming from.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they're not going to change their ways. Just like we said, they're not going to move down here, and they're not going to change their ways. So I remember Derek Jeter taking the Red Sox hat off my father and putting a Yankee hat on, and it stayed on for about a second.
Wasn't that actually on TV?
Yeah. No, it wasn't on TV, but it was
come on.
Outside the clubhouse. But it was just, it's funny because, like you said, they're so set in their ways, it's just not going to change. But to go back to it, it was, I didn't look at it as a Boston kid. You know what I mean? Obviously, growing up, I wanted to be a Red Sox. Obviously, all of us dream of playing in Fenway Park because we go all the time, right? We go as kids. or at least we got to go as kids back then. I mean, kids now, it's $500 a ticket or whatever it is, and so it's tough to get there. But back when we did, we used to sneak in and go into the bleachers, and you could get through that back fence back there where they had that hole. We would all know where the hole was to get into a game, so we would sneak in. But it was always a dream of mine to play in Fenway Park. Obviously, I never got the opportunity to put the Red Sox uniform on. The next best thing probably was for me being a Yankee, because I got to go there, half the time and play them. And so it was, being in Fenway. But it was always a nightmare for me because everybody comes out of the woodwork and wants tickets, right? I mean, some dude that I don't even remember was my best friend in 8th grade wants a ticket with his kids, and I'm getting messages in the clubhouse in my locker asking for 4 tickets for tomorrow night. And it was just, so it's a tough place. It was a tough place for me to go to for that reason. But other than that, listen, I loved going there. My first start was in Fenway Park as a Ranger, actually. And we had 2 other Massachusetts guys on the team with me, which was Kenny Hill and Bobby Witt.
Wow.
So when I was getting ready for my first start, we flew into Boston and we went to dinner. And he told me, he said, listen, these guys never took us. So we don't ever let them let that down. We don't lose in this ballpark. And that always stuck with me throughout my whole career about, listen, we have to do well as Massachusetts kids here at home. So we had to always, take that Massachusetts thing and say, look, you guys screwed up by not taking the Massachusetts kid. Listen, it's everybody's dream, whether you're from New York, Chicago, or whatever. It's your dream to play at home, right? I mean, that's what everybody wants to do. And so, when that doesn't happen, it kind of burns a little bit because you are in the big leagues, you are good enough to play there, but yet you didn't play at home, right? So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, absolutely. Stephen?
So you've been around the block, obviously, throughout your entire career. You were a White Sox, you were a Cubs guy, Rangers, Rays, all this other stuff, Dodgers, Yankees. What were some games that you had in your career that you're like, man, that was one of the best games I ever played? And what are some memorable games throughout any of your tenures with any teams in your career?
First of all, thanks for listing all 25 teams that I played for. That was awesome. That was good. I got a lot of really cool jerseys up on the wall, but they're all mine. You know what I mean? For everything.
There you go.
But listen, probably the highlight of my career. I wouldn't say highlight of my career because obviously playoffs against the Red Sox were the best, right? So any of those games you could pick, especially 04. Going down when they ended up coming back and beating us, but it was still, I mean, the whole series was just unbelievable. I mean, it still hurts me that we didn't win, but the series was just amazing, right, to play in it. But I think the best game that I always talk about and I always look back at is I picked the first game back after 9/11 at Yankee Stadium against Roger Clemens. Yeah. And I was a Devil Ray at the time, and I was a starter at the time. So I got the opportunity to pitch that game. I remember sitting in the bullpen crying with 2 police officers before the game started. And then I went out and pitched the game and ended up beating Clemens 2-1 or something like that, 3-1 or something like that in that game. And, that was probably the best highlight of a game that I could be, right? Because after that, it all happened, being able to come back and play baseball and seeing all the people lined up underneath the old Yankee Stadium. I don't know if any of you guys went into old Yankee Stadium, but old Yankee Stadium downstairs in the tunnels was really, really narrow. You couldn't fit a lot of people. So they were lined up everywhere because they were going out to hold the flag for the national anthem and stuff like that. And there was thousands of people. So I walked past all of those guys to get to the bullpen and obviously gave high five to everybody. Obviously being a visiting player was completely different, but it was amazing. And that game I'll always remember as probably my best.
Wow.
Ezra?
First of all, Tanyon, thank you for coming on. This is actually my first interview, so I'm a little nervous, but it's an honor to talk with you nonetheless.
Nervous. There's nothing to be nervous about. I'm all the way in a camera way away from you. There's nothing.
I grew up a White Sox fan. My dad, who just passed away a few weeks ago, God rest his soul, he was a huge Cubs fan. And I wanted to kind of get your remembrance on your times in both the Cubs and the White Sox, and what it was like playing for both teams. I know you only played one season in each of those teams, but can you give us a little bit on what it was like playing in Wrigley and what was at the time Comiskey Park?
Yeah. Sorry for your loss. I hope that you guys, prayers are with you and your family. But when I got Rule 5 to the Cubs, so you guys understand Rule 5. Rule 5 is when you're not protected on something and you get picked up in the big leagues and you make the team out of spring training and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wasn't really ready to be in the big leagues. I was just getting into AAA. I was really just learning how to pitch, and I got Rule 5 because I threw hard, right? So they picked me up, and they weren't expecting the Cubs to be good, right? I mean, let's face it, they were not very good. Well, the starting 5 that year ended up pitching really well the first beginning part of the season. Castillo, Traxel, and all those guys, they pitched really, really well. So I ended up being the long guy of the bullpen and just kind of really sat there. So, but it was a great experience for me. BP in the morning at 8:00 in the morning against Fergie Jenkins was not fun. He broke a lot of bats, and trying to drink with Mark Grace at night and then go to BP at 8:00 in the morning was not a good time. But Chicago, the Cubs, obviously the Cubs fan are just amazing, right? So to be in that ballpark is obviously special. Harry Carey was still alive, so it was a very special ballpark to be at. It was just really fast for me, right? So if you always hear guys talk about slowing the game down and stuff like that, I wasn't able to do that at that time. I wasn't ready to be there and slow it down. It was just really fast. And the days kind of just kept flying by. And so, the Cubs thing was great. It got me my cup of coffee in the big leagues, but I don't consider myself a big leaguer with them because I wasn't ready to be there, right? Then you go to the other side, and I had probably the best pitching coach possible in the minor leagues with the White Sox that got me back to the big leagues and really taught me my split finger pitch that got me to the big leagues, to stay in the big leagues. Mm-hmm. And so White Sox have always been special for me. And I still have some very good friends that I met while I was playing with the White Sox. Not players, but guys outside of there that are all, Southie guys, South Side guys that I still am very tight with. And, the White Sox was a great time for me. They treated me great. And obviously that it happened there. They were playing well again, and they needed a second baseman. Ray Durham had just got hurt. So I got traded for Tony Graffinino and ended up going to Tampa Bay, which was a great move for me because I got to start for the next 3 years and get my feet wet in the big leagues and learn how to slow that game down and learn how to pitch in the big leagues. So, both very different for me, but both great spot. Listen, Chicago's one of my favorite cities. I love it there. I think it's a great spot. The food is amazing. Golf is amazing there. I love playing golf in Chicago, but like I said, two really different times of my big league career, right? So one, I wasn't really ready, and the other time I was ready to do some things.
Yeah, absolutely. Tanyon, Ezra spoke about the beginning of your career. I want to look more at the tail end of your career when you were with the Yankees and you played with Jeter and Mariano Rivera. What was it like at that point playing with guys who were basically first ballot Hall of Famers?
Yeah, so when I got to New York, it was a whole new. Well, I had to learn a whole new mindset because they go by things completely different than any other team that I played for. So no matter what happened that night, it was over and done with by the next time we got in the clubhouse. Where other teams kind of just held on to that, like saying, "Oh, we lost last night by a grand slam home run." And they kept talking about it, and it would dwell and dwell and dwell. But in New York, it was whatever happened last night happened last night. The next day, you needed to get a win. And so once they started teaching me that, and learning that, it was really a great way to look at the game, because sometimes we give up a home run or we give up a base hit to lose the game or something like that. you go home. It's not like we just forget it, right? I mean, I know you guys as fans are all pissed off, but we're just as pissed as you guys. We don't want to lose ball games, and we don't want to give up home runs, right?
Yeah.
So it dwells on we think about it a lot too, but the way they got it was next day you got to the ballpark, it didn't mean anything. We needed to win that night. So they looked at it completely different than any other team. And to have 9 all-stars sitting in the clubhouse or on the field every time, it was easy. Everyone always thought that, it must be the hardest place for you to go play. They're not coming to my locker for a quote. There's 9 all-stars sitting around the clubhouse. They're not going to the 24th man on the roster. They don't care. So I thought it was pretty easy, So that for me was a little bit. It took a little pressure off of everything that needed to happen, because those guys were in the clubhouse, because they were going to run the A-Rod's locker, they were going to run the Derek's locker, they were going to run the Sheffield's locker, they were going to run. They weren't going to run the Sturtze's locker. Sturtze is probably going to be, unless I gave up a bomb or something like that, they're going to come to me first, right?
Yeah. Right.
Other than that, they're going to go to the other guys. So it was pretty, in that regard, it was pretty easy.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Carl?
basically, the Yankees were teaching you Little League style. Okay, yeah, you guys lost that. Let's move on to the next one.
Yeah, well, listen,
that was their mindset.
It really was. And for them to be able to do that collectively as a team it is amazing, the way that those teams all went about their business, right? Because, it was always about that next night. Because, in reality, you can't take back what already happened. So why dwell on it? But people do, right? I mean, we all do. If something happens, we all think about it.
I mean, it's all ingrained in our head still. And
right. Yeah.
Now, when I was coaching Little League, that's what I used to do with my kids. Okay, yeah, we lost yesterday. You know what? Today's a doomed day.
Right.
Let's go for today.
Yeah. And that's a great philosophy to have,
and also,
yes, it is.
And one of the things I used to teach my kids too was, in order to learn what it's to mean to win, you have to lose.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well,
and a lot of coaches are like, "Oh no, we got to win, 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 win." No, they got to learn how to lose first.
Buddy, we learned how to lose in Tampa. Let me tell you that.
Well, it paid off for them in 2008.
I'll tell you what, though, we had some good plane rides. I can tell you that, though. We lost 100. We had some good flights.
Actually, sorry, John.
No, I was going to say, do we have any questions from YouTube or Discord?
Yeah. Before we get to that, so when you played with Tampa Bay, you actually played with the pitcher Jim Morris then?
No. He was so obviously you guys seen the movie, and it comes in where he comes and replaces me in the movie.
Okay.
But I never played with him. So they filmed that a couple years later. They filmed that a year or two later when we were in Texas, because that's where he debuted, was in Texas.
Right.
And they cut out the stuff to make it look like that, to make him look like he came in. But I never did play with him. I was actually with Chicago White Sox the year that he broke in with Tampa.
Okay.
We had played him before we went to the AAA World Series with Charlotte with the White Sox. We played him in Durham. He was in Durham before he got called up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, my other question before we get to Discord, it was 2006. You went out with a rotator cuff surgery.
Yeah.
How do you remember exactly what happened that made you have that rotator cuff surgery?
No, I remember throwing as much as possible, and I just remember not being able to obviously locate where I wanted to locate anymore. Velocity doesn't really go away that much, but your feel for where you want to try and put something does. And then when that goes, especially in the big leagues, it's very tough. I didn't throw 104 like these guys do now and just throw it down the middle. I had to put it on the corners and try to make it move a little bit. So, once that went, and it was quite painful. So then we knew, in hindsight, now that I look at it, I really wish I didn't have the surgery. I really wish I rehabbed for the rest of that year and waited till the end, and then had it done in the off season or something like that. But, the doctors all were saying you had to get it done. So I went to Dr. Andrews in Birmingham and got it done. And that was basically pretty much the end.
I think everybody goes to him for surgery.
Yes.
Well, yeah, he was the best. He was the best. You know, I mean, he's the best at the time, and you know, all the doctors that study underneath him are the best, and they're all right there in Birmingham. The place is massive.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So we actually have YouTube and Discord that we're on, and I have a comment from Discord. If you don't mind taking the question,
Whatever you guys need.
so good friend of ours, Todd Tomlin, turns around and says, what do you think of the way the game is played today versus old school, where players were also bunted, stolen bases, just overall small ball type of mentality?
Yeah, listen, that's a great question. I hate the game now. I very rarely watch a game. I can't stand it. I think it's a strikeout, a walk, or a home run. I really think the game is really lost on the way we used to play it. I really think that they have to sit down and look. You know, you kind of see a couple teams trying to get back to, you know, moving the runners over. I mean, you never see a guy on second base with less than 2 outs trying to get him over the third base. I mean, it just doesn't happen anymore, right? And like he said, with the bunt, I mean, we just don't. The game just doesn't do it anymore because they don't get paid for it. These guys get paid a lot of money to hit 20 home runs, 25 home runs. So the game has changed, and you can't blame the kids for that because they're trying to get paid and take care of their families, which is fine. But, you know, you would never see a guy strike out 200 times back when we played. He would be sent down to the minor leagues, right? Yep. He wouldn't have the opportunity to strike out 200 times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and now, I mean, these guys are striking out like crazy, but they hit 25 home runs, so they're still getting paid. I just, listen, like I said, I don't watch a lot of baseball anymore because I think that the game has really changed. We can't drill anybody anymore, right? You know, as pitchers, the inside of the plate is completely gone. You know, and you watch these guys come out of the bullpen, they all have amazing arms, but they don't even try to put a pitch on a corner or something like that. They're just trying to blow them away the whole time that they're in the game, right? I mean, it's just power against power, and if you catch up to it and catch it, okay, you got it. That's it. You know, they just try to throw it harder and harder and see what can happen. It just the game's completely different now than when we played. Like you know, there was I don't want to say an art to it, but there was something to the game back then. Like you had to think about
nostalgia.
Yeah, but there was situations that you had to think there was something going to happen. Now you don't. You're just up there firing.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, every North American major sport, the game isn't the same with anything like football, basketball, baseball, hockey, everything. I mean, well, hockey's kind of, you know, the same, but football and basketball, especially, and baseball, those three sports have changed over the years. It's a different mindset these days. Back in the day, these guys did anything and everything, you know, instead of going out there and shooting threes and, swinging for the fences all the time. No, you got to play smart.
Yeah, right. Well, listen, I mean, we used to have guys hit 300. You know what I mean? There was guys first, second batters, they would hit 300. These guys, I mean, they're hitting like 250, 260. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
They got 15 home runs or 20 home runs, and they're still getting their big money. So, listen, like I said, you can't blame the kids playing now because that's the game that they're in. But it's completely different than when we played.
Tanyon, another part of the show is we take calls. And we actually have somebody who would like to ask you a question too. You okay with that?
Yeah, of course.
All right. Hi, Jacker. I know you're in Discord right now. Unmute yourself. Come on in. You're on right now with Tanyon Sturtze.
What's happening, boys? What's going on?
What's up, brother?
What's up, brother?
What's up?
Doing all right. Tanyon, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good out here in the West, to be exact, Oakland. Couple questions for you. I am a diehard A's fan, been a season ticket holder for the past 20-something years. One question I wanted to ask you, when you came through to Oakland, honest opinion, what did you think of the Oakland Coliseum?
Well, listen, Oakland Coliseum is obviously, one of the oldest ballparks out there, so it's a great place. But let me tell you something. First of all, the best organization. I was so happy I got drafted by them because, man, I'll tell you right now, they taught me so much about the game. Being in that organization, Oakland A's organization is probably one of the top organizations. I'm so happy I had my minor leagues with those guys. I really do. It's a great, great place. Oakland Coliseum is a great place to play. I mean, obviously, as a pitcher, it's one of the best spots because you got all that foul ground. So I'll go out there and throw all day long at that place. You take my chances because those pop-ups are going to be outs. So I liked it there. But, great ballpark. Obviously, tough place to get to. When we stay in San Francisco, I'm going to come down to get into Oakland for the games and stuff like that. But, I always enjoyed playing there and always enjoyed pitching there. By the way, I was just with Jon Blayne last week out in Las Vegas, and still one of my favorite guys in the world, and he was my roommate in the minor leagues. And then we ended up being together with the Yankees. So, Oakland is very special to me. We have 40 of us that are still from the minor leagues, all still together on text messaging and still talk a lot. So Oakland's very, very special to me. It's a great, great organization. Stay with those guys. They're great.
Oh, I'm not going anywhere, my man. I just only wish we could have saw you up in the uniform up here for us for a few years,
I would have loved it.
I want to ask you though, how did you feel from when you got drafted to the very first time you stepped on the field in a first start or a relief appearance? How were those two different feelings different, and how did you feel during those two opportunities?
Okay, so I got drafted in 1990 I was a shortstop, like I told you guys. I didn't pitch much. I threw, but pitching wasn't my thing. So when I got drafted, they told me they wanted to change me to a pitcher. So when I went to Scottsdale, Arizona with the Oakland A's, and I had to learn how to pitch. So I would do early work every day with one of my coaches on my mechanics and everything. So that really was the beginning for me. And then learning how to actually pitch to a batter was completely, instead of just trying to overpower somebody with a fastball like you can do in Little League or also do in high school, you can't do that there. You have to pitch and learn how to set the guys up and learn how to get them out. But as feeling going into, I actually ended up liking relieving a lot better than I did starting. I hated having the 4 days in between my starts because if you got shelled, it was a long 4 days. And if you dealt, it was a very fast 4 days. And every time out of the bullpen, you knew you had that chance to go up every night. So it was a little bit different feelings both ways.
All right, and one last question, if you guys don't mind.
Right ahead.
When you were pitching, out of all honesty, Ricky Henderson is my favorite player in the game. When you had one of the fastest runners on first across from you, who made you sweat the most standing on first and you're sitting there saying, oh, shit, I can't let this guy get the second?
Yeah, well, thank God I didn't have to throw when Ricky was at first base because that probably would have been the person. Listen, there's guys that can change games like that. Obviously, David Roberts did it to us in the 04 series. And, there's definitely guys you have to pay attention to. But like I said, we're prepared for that before the game. We know exactly who those guys are and how to handle it. And the catchers also let us know with certain signs on how to control that running game, whether, where they want the ball and how they want to do it, holding, stepping off, throwing over the first, pitching out and stuff like that. So, but you're right. There's definitely guys that, can change the game by what they can do on the base pass with their speed. And there's a few guys now in the game that can do it too, that have that opportunity. Obviously no one I think will ever be like Ricky did on changing the game, because Ricky had power too. Ricky didn't just hurt you with his legs. Ricky could swing the bat, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it, man. God bless you.
And I got a question for you, though. The way you sound, man, you got to have a beard like these guys. I know you.
He does.
I have about a 10-inch long goatee, brother.
I love it. I get my thing working here. This is not good.
All I gotta say is look up Scott Ian from Anthrax. If they had Anthrax, that's what he looks like right
I
there.
love it. Great.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I appreciate answering the questions, Tanyon. God bless you,
Thank
bro.
you. God bless you. Thank you.
All right, Kevin.
I had a question a couple minutes ago, and now I just drew a
Oh,
complete
you had
blank.
one job.
All right, over to Steven.
Okay, so during your career, obviously in the major leagues, when did you finally? When did you think in your mind that, man, I finally have hit my stride? You know, I'm in my prime. You know, I'm finally getting somewhere where I want to be. You know, as far as a game or, you know, like when did you think you finally hit the peak in the prime of your career?
All right, Steven, you ready for this, buddy?
Yes.
All right, so I win 11 games in 2001, I think. 2001 with the Devil Rays, okay? 11 games with the Devil Rays felt like I won 30, all right?
All right.
So I win MVP for the team that year, and I think, okay, I got it. Now I'm ready to go, okay?
All right.
Next year, I go 4-18, bro. So to answer your question, I don't think you're ever at that point where you think, okay, here, look at, I'm ready to stay here. I mean, I knew that I could pitch there in the big leagues and stay in the big leagues and get people out. But every time I feel like you get a little too high in this game, the baseball gods just strike you right back down and say, okay, listen, let's get back to reality, right?
Right.
You know? So that's the way I always felt. But I after 2001, I felt great. And then 2002 came in. I think I started the season like 0-13 or something like that. So it was pretty bad. But I had like a 3.9 ERA. Like I wasn't pitching bad, you know, but I just didn't win any ball games.
Yeah.
So it was just like, you know, right back to reality. Here you go and have a little dose of this, right?
Exactly. Ezra.
I had a question too, and it just spaced me out now too.
All right, I'll go to me now.
Let's go.
I'll go to me now. Wow, we're doing great today. Tanyon, I know right now we're in the midst of spring training, and what's the mentality now for the players, knowing that the season starts in a couple of weeks? Like the mindset going through with the players. Is it just get us to opening day, or you're not even looking at it like that?
I think the mindset right now, actually being this close, is get you working and don't get hurt, because you want to make sure you start the season, right? So right now you see everybody just really getting their work done, and you'll start seeing a bunch of these guys, you know, start playing some B games instead of all these A games and getting all these, you know, these at bats. But now it's just really get you working. Listen, man, you guys got to understand, this is a long season, right?
Yes.
The spring training is, you know, it's really just to get you going. And, you know, these first couple months of the season is, you know, I always tell everybody, watch the first couple months of the season. All the young teams will be in first place because they're all 20 something years old, and they come out like gangbusters. And then what happens right around All-Star? Here comes all the other teams. They all start coming back. They all start circling back because they're not used to this long season, right? So all these other guys are used to it. They know how to pace themselves and get ready. So, you know, it's a marathon when it comes to this long of a season, 162, right? These guys just jump out. Like, I'm telling you, I've always told everybody this. You know, obviously I've been out of the game now, and so all my friends are like, you know, who we betting on tonight? Who we betting tonight? And I'm like, listen, take these young kids the first 2 months because they're going to dominate. They're ready to go. They've probably been hitting since October when the season ended, right? Live off of a machine or something like that, waiting to get somebody. And so they're going to come out like gangbusters. And you'll see, watch, the first couple months of the season, you'll see these young teams. They'll be in first and second place. They'll be dealing, and then everyone will start catching them and start coming back.
Yeah, absolutely. Carl?
So you last was in 2009 was your last time pitching. What have you done since that to now?
Baseball wise or just
baseball wise?
So baseball wise, I do a lot of camps for Toronto, actually. I do a lot of their young kids camps up in Toronto. They go around, they're kind of special in Toronto because they have all of Canada, right? You know, I mean, they're the only team up there. So everyone from West Coast to East Coast loves the Blue Jays. So what they do is they go around and they have these camps for these kids that are between 8 and 10, 11 years old.
Mhm.
And they travel from West Coast to East Coast. So I do a lot of those obviously not now because of COVID, not in the last year or so because of COVID, but that's usually what I do. I do a bunch of the fantasy camps for the Yankees. Other than that, my son's in T-ball. He's only 5. So I kind of just let him go. I sit in the outfield. I don't let anyone see me or anything like that. I don't want anyone to even know. I don't even think his coaches know who I am, which is great, and I just watch him play. And that's basically it, what I do for baseball. I have a job. I sell P&C and health insurance to big companies. And, that's my day to day. Right. I play a lot of golf and I play a lot.
Well, if you ever
golf.
come up to Jersey for golf, let me know.
Yeah, I will. Definitely.
The Boston fan in here remembered his question now. Kevin?
Yes. So a couple of years ago, the Houston Astros were caught in their big cheating scandal. I wanted to get your thoughts on that, like what you thought as a former player, and if you had heard of any teams while you were playing that were engaging in any type of cheating, maybe not to the extent of what the Astros did, but if it is a rumored every team does this little cheating stuff.
Well, every team does the little cheating stuff. Okay. So I don't know to the extent of what, Houston went to or what it was, but listen, as a pitcher, we would always have to change our signs and make sure we change things up because of guys on second base, because we knew they were getting signs, right? If you stayed with a certain sign all the time, you knew that they were going to get your signals and they were going to tell the bat. Why wouldn't they? Why, you know what I mean? Why wouldn't they? It's my job to change them so you don't have them. So I mean, I don't put anyone at blame on trying to get an advantage to win a baseball game or to get a sign, because it's my job so that you don't get the signs. The other things where, if they have video of people and then relaying it off the video, that's not right. We have to change that, right, to be able to make it a little bit forward. But if you're standing on second base and you see that I go first sign after 2 for the first 5 pitches, and the next guy comes up and you tell him you got the signs and they give it to you, then that's my fault for not changing it up, right? I mean, I think you guys would all agree with that.
Right.
But if you're getting it off a TV camera and you're hitting a trash can in the dugout to let somebody know, then that's a little bit different, because that's not really, I don't know, not the human aspect of it, right? It takes a little step further. But listen, everybody takes advantage. Everyone tries to get signs. I mean, I remember being on some teams where guys sit in the video room the whole time and watch the guy starts the whole time, trying to see if he tips with a glove, if he holds his glove different for a certain pitch, or if he does the same signs. Listen, that's all part of the game. That's been part of the game since we've all played this game. So that's never going to change, in my opinion. But the stuff with the video stuff, that's why I don't think these kids should be in the dugout with all these computers. I just don't think that's right. I mean, maybe I'm old fashioned, maybe I'm getting up there in age and these, this new wave is coming through, but I just don't think there should be that stuff in the dugout.
No. Steven?
No, because real quick before my question, they can use that technology to really pull some shenanigans.
Well, we saw it. I mean, we obviously saw that happen, right? I mean, that's exactly what Houston was doing,
Yep. So growing up, getting into baseball, when you were getting into playing baseball, what was a game or a certain player growing up watching before you got into the major leagues and all that stuff? Who was your biggest influence to wanting to play the game?
Well, like I said, I was a huge Red Sox fan. So
Right.
I would go all the time. I was a big Jim Rice fan growing up. And then and I was obviously a huge Rocket fan. So I was a big Clemens guy. Obviously on the mound, I would always try to emulate Clemens. But Him and Jim Rice and Dwight Evans. I mean, I just loved that whole team back then when I was playing, growing up as a kid. And, you sit in the yard playing wiffle ball and you want to emulate all these guys and stuff like that. And those were the guys that I tried to do. Yaz, flipping his back. So, I mean, all that stuff growing up as a kid.
Nice.
Absolutely. Ezra?
I actually wanted to ask you, Tanyon, about your charity work. I know that you were the advisory board chairman for the Pinstripe Sports Dreams Foundation. The foundation helps, give youth travel baseball players who can't afford gear and allow them, it gives them the opportunity to play elite travel baseball. Can you kind of talk about that and kind of give in detail what the organization truly does for those young players who want to achieve their dreams?
Yeah. So again, this goes back to what I do with the Yankees with the fantasy camp. So it's about a lot of older gentlemen that come to the fantasy camp. They pay money to come. Most well-off guys that come and play and want to play for the week with guys that are ex-major league players. So a couple of guys in there were saying that the game's getting out of hand for the younger kids. Money-wise, being able to play, and some kids weren't really getting the opportunity to do that. Would we, be willing to be with them on this kind of stuff to promote and be able to pay for these kids to do certain things. They would randomly pick some kids throughout the country. But, so we obviously jumped on board with that because, it's all about preserving the game. And, it's not right if kids want to play the game and can't afford to play it. And it's kind of getting like that with the way the sport is now. No one wanted to play hockey when they were younger because it was too expensive, right? I mean, skate, your pads, your sticks and all that stuff. But now, baseball's kind of getting the same way. It's $2,000 here, $3,000 there, so it's getting expensive. And parents just don't have the money to do that. And it's a shame because we're losing a lot of kids that can play.
Absolutely. Tanyon, my last question for tonight. In your entire career, was there one ballpark or one town that you always looked forward to going to?
I always loved pitching in Cleveland. I love the mound in Cleveland. I always thought it was great. Not so much the city, but the ballpark, yes. Right? I mean, city's pretty, it's Cleveland, right?
I'm sorry. We have one of our other good friends is a diehard Cleveland fan.
Listen, the ballpark's awesome. I love it, right? But I mean, it's Cleveland. Like when you got Chicago, you have LA, you have New York, you have Boston. It's Cleveland, right? I mean, let's just we'll call it what it is. But listen, I always loved being on that mound there because I always felt like the place was really home plate was close. And I absolutely hated going to Texas. I used to give up the booty in Texas, bro. I used to pull a hamstring before we go to Texas so I wouldn't have to pitch in that place because that ball would fly out of that place. That ball would jump out of there off my pitches, man. I hated going to that ballpark, man. That place was tough, but it was a good city. It's better than Cleveland, I'll tell you.
He thinks better than Cleveland.
Better than Cleveland.
He stole my next question. Oh my God, that was going to be my next question. What was the city that you hated playing in? You just answered it, Texas.
Listen, I didn't hate playing in that city. I like that city. I hate playing
in the ballpark.
The ballpark was a tough ballpark, man.
Oh man,
the ball would fly out of there.
So my question for you, my last question, it's not baseball related. You play golf.
Yeah.
Did you see the big news that came out of the Arnold Palmer Invitational this past weekend?
No.
The guy that won it shot 555 yards off the tee to the green. The ball rolled literally 370 yards.
Who's that, Shambo?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, he hit some bombs today. Did you see him play?
And that was on a par 5.
Yeah, I saw him hit that ball over that water. Yeah, I've played that golf course a bunch of times. It's amazing where he hit that ball. Crazy. Yeah, he's changing the game. You want to talk about game changing? He's changing the game completely with his power. What he's doing with the golf ball. There's not other guys that can hit the ball like him.
No, that's why it's an amazing feat.
No, listen, like I said, I've played that golf course before a bunch of times, and where he hit those couple drives is just, it's amazing. I wouldn't even think about swinging the club to go that part.
Right.
Kevin?
So my last question for you. Best catcher in your playing days and the best catcher you think of now.
Best catcher in the game now and the best catcher that I had?
Yeah, like who's the best catcher you played with, or the best catcher that was around when you were playing, and the best catcher now?
Well, I obviously I don't know who the best catcher is, for me, because I haven't thrown to any of these kids playing now. But obviously, Molina is probably the best now, right? The kid in St. Louis. I mean,
Yeah.
Very hard to argue that he's not the best. The kid's amazing, and he's been amazing for a long time. For me, I was actually very fortunate to have some really good catchers. Posada's awesome. John Flaherty, who was the backup to Posada, was awesome, and I had him in Tampa. So I kind of had him both situations in Tampa and New York. I've been very lucky. I've actually had a bunch of great catchers. Obviously, the Chicago catchers didn't really know much because I wasn't there that much. But I would probably say Posada and Flaherty were my favorite two to throw to, and I got to throw to them Flaherty most of my career, 7 years out of my 11, right? So. That was pretty good.
Steven?
My last question, what was the best advice that you were ever given throughout your entire career? Like there was a point where you're like, man, is this worth it anymore? But and then somebody gave you the best advice that always stuck with you, and you're like, okay, I can stick with that because that made you feel better, I guess, because there's always, times where players, I would assume that they have those parts where like they're they're struggling, and then they get that best advice, from a player, on their team or their coach, or you know what I mean? Yeah.
So fortunately, when I got traded to the Yankees, Mike Stanton got traded out. And what happened when Mike Stanton got traded out is Mariano Rivera didn't have a throwing partner. Mm-hmm. So I ended up sliding into that spot. And I ended up being Mariano's throwing partner for the 3 years that I was in New York. Mm-hmm. So every day it wasn't just play catch and get ready for BP. Every day was a session, a mental session and a throwing session with Mariano. And obviously every day for him teaching me how to be in the bullpen, because I hadn't been in the bullpen before. So being in the bullpen with New York was really my first time. So he taught me how to go about every day being a reliever, because I had no idea about it, because I was a starter the whole time. And, I always, like I said, I had those 4 days off. I would play golf, drink and, have a good time for 4 days and then get ready for a start. And these, every day in the bullpen, you had to be ready. So every day we would have a talk after we would play catch. And he would tell me a little bit something every day about, how to prepare myself to be a reliever. So I don't think that it was one specific thing, Steven. I think it was more of like, the overall time that I got to spend with him for those 3 years. And one of his biggest thing was letting that day before go. And he was the best at it. Not that he ever got hit or ever gave up any runs, but he was always the best at just letting it go, whatever happened the night before.
Right, because you can't change the past. Exactly.
You can't change the past. And there's no point in dwelling on it, because it's only going to hurt you to keep thinking about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we figured let's have the kid who made his debut on the show tonight, Ezra, have the final question of tonight. So, Ezra, floor is yours, buddy. Not that I meant to put pressure on you, but floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. During your time, I know the big rivalry in Chicago has always been Cubs, White Sox, the Crosstown Classic. I was wondering, did you ever get to play during any of those Cubs and White Sox Crosstown Classics during your time? And if you did, what did you think of the atmosphere whenever Cubs entered Comiskey, or when the White Sox entered Wrigley? What do you think of that atmosphere at the time?
I think I only played in one, Ezra. I think I only played in one with the Cubs coming to the White Sox. And obviously, anytime you go inner city, it's going to be crazy. But especially with the fans on both of those sides, right? You can always tell the tension between the White Sox fans and the Cubs fans. It's always a battle. But I only think I played in one of them, and I think it was when I was a White Sox and the Cubs came into town. But they came into Comiskey, and then I think I got traded like right after that. But obviously crazy, but it would never compare to Yankees Red Sox. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Nothing compares to that game.
No, but let me tell you something. Nothing compares to it back then. Now is probably a very good comparison because I don't think it's the same as the rivalry as when we were playing. Because like you said in the very beginning of all this podcast was, it was in the meat of the rivalry, right?
Mm-hmm.
2003, Booney hits the home run and the extra innings to go to the World Series, kind of put a dagger in thing. And in 2004, They end up coming back after being down 3-0 and beating us. And then 05, it was just like, we had the fight with the A-Rod fight and everything. So it was like, everything was kind of, coming to a boil at that point. And I just don't think it's like that anymore. Right. And no. I don't know if there was wasn't a real hate, but there was a dislike, right, between the two teams.
Oh yeah. You had the respect and you also had the dislike at the same time.
Right. And we knew that they really disliked a few guys on our teams, and we really disliked a few guys on their team. So
I'm pretty sure Veritek is one. I have the picture of him shoving his catcher's mitt in A-Rod's face.
Yeah. Well,
I had that as a computer background for years.
Kevin, but Jason's a great guy, right? So, I mean,
yes.
It wasn't like, it was just, it was him that ended up boiling over with Alex,
And it takes a lot for Veritek to get pissed.
Obviously, Alex was one of their guys that they completely did not like, right? So it just boiled over at that point. But it wasn't Jason. Jason never said 10 words, right? He's very quiet. He led by an example. He went and played his job. He was a great catcher, and he went about his business. So it wasn't really, it wasn't really him, right?
No.
Right.
No. And I remember growing up on Long Island, that's the last thing I'm going to just say. I remember those at 03, 04, 05, those battles between the Yankees and Boston. I mean, I still remember, I think it was 05, if I remember correctly, when Pedro threw Don Zimmer.
That
was 03, I think.
03.
Yeah, 03. Well, listen, that's what I mean. So all that stuff was building and building and building those 3 years. So it just the rivalry was just amazing. I mean, you would have 2,000 people sitting outside the hotel just to scream at you to walk on the bus. And I'm like, these people got nothing better to do here in Boston than stand outside and scream at us walking on a bus. We have 50 cops waiting for us to walk outside. And what are these people sitting outside our hotel? But listen, it was awesome. Being able to play it was amazing. Being a Boston guy and playing for the other team was completely, crazy. I had people with signs in the bleachers, from my hometown calling me a traitor.
Oops.
When I'm just trying to make money for my family. But listen, I understand. I know where the passion's from because I grew up with that passion. I grew up with my family having that passion. I probably still have 2 uncles that don't speak to me because I put a Yankee uniform on.
My father gave you shit a lot. Like, hey, you're a Boston guy, but you're a Yankee guy dressing as Yankee? Come on.
Right, exactly.
Tanyon, thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was an absolute blast.
Great, man.
Where can people find you on social media? And if you want to just promote the camp again that you do up in Toronto.
Hey, listen, so I will tell you that I have a 56foundation.org, and what we do is I do big fuzzy socks for cancer kids in a bunch of hospitals down here in South Florida. And we do that. My wife and I, it's very special to us. We do it every Christmas, all the holidays. We send out big boxes of socks and stuff like that. It's a great organization. We're very happy to do it. I do it because I'm blessed with two amazing kids, and these kids are very special. I hate the adults. Okay, I don't like adults. I love the kids. I really do. And really, they're very special to me. And, I always remember going to Fenway Park as a kid and people taking the time to sign autographs for me. So I always did that. I always tried to make sure that I did autographs as long as I could for all the kids that were in the stands and stuff like that, because it's all about our kids. Everything's about our kids. And to see these kids sick in the hospital breaks my heart. So it was just a little something for us to do. They're always cold after they do their treatments, and they get blankets, they get pillows. So we thought we would do some socks. So it's 56foundation.org. If everyone wants to go to that, they can find me there. But that's something that my wife and I do here. We fund it by ourselves. We do take a little bit of donations, but we order the socks through China, and we get them here probably 2 or 3 times a year. We get big shipments. And we take them to the hospitals here. We have a couple great hospitals down here in South Florida that let us go in. And obviously with COVID, it's tough. We're not able to go see the kids, but we get to drop off a big thing of socks so that they can hand them out.
Yeah, absolutely. And we will tweet out that website through our account
and
send it out to all of our fan base as well. But again, Tanyon, thank you so much for coming on. Hope to have you on again.
Hey, I appreciate it. I love hanging out with the ZZ Top crew. I love it.
And like I said, you come up to Jersey, we'll play golf, man.
Hey, man, you guys are on. I'm in. I really appreciate you guys having me on. It was a blast. You guys are a bunch of great guys. And like I said, we'll do a cold beer at some point, okay?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Have a good night. God bless.
You too. Thank you.
too, buddy. God bless.
But folks, yes, that was Tanyon Sturtze, former Yankee pitcher. Holy crap.
Wow.
That was
I
great.
think you got a new nickname, fellas.
The stories, just not even have the stories. I mean, yeah, he didn't have a long career, but look at who he played with, though.
Yeah.
He played at the start of when Tampa Bay started. Go to him when he was with the Yankees. I mean, for Christ's sake.
Go
I
and
mean,
name that roster from 2004 to when he stopped. I mean, half that roster is a Hall of Famer.
yeah,
Yep.
I mean, crap sakes, 2 of them are freaking first ballot. One of them is the first unanimous player ever get inducted.
Yeah.
I mean, he was also there. He had a first-hand experience in those 03, 04, 05 runs.
But what I loved about the whole conversation is when he talked about Mariano.
Mm.
As much as a Red Sox fan I am, I respected that man.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. That guy deserves
There was
all the
no
praise in the world.
closer
Oh, hell yeah.
better than Mariano Rivera.
When Inner Sandman
man.
would hit them speakers,
You knew you were in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the only time, and I'll cherish it forever, the only time I've ever going to see Mariano Rivera in trouble was when he mentioned Dave Roberts. That's the only time that I remember seeing that and going, oh my God, there's a crack in that armor.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a crack. No, there's this. I'm asleep and I'm dreaming. This ain't real.
Yeah.
And no, it was real.
If you missed that interview, you can check that out on our YouTube page. Our video editor, Hijacker Mike, who, if you listen to the interview, he asked Tanyon Sturtze the question. We'll have that up probably in the next couple of days. So again, thank you, Tanyon, and we'll definitely tweet out the link to his foundation because I think it's a phenomenal
Please
foundation.
donate to it.
If you can,
If
absolutely.
you can, please donate to the foundation.
Absolutely. But
great guy.
yeah, absolutely phenomenal guy. And I love the questions, by the way, coming from YouTube and Discord. It's great questions.
Oh, yeah.
We could have easily had him on for the rest of the show.
Uh-huh.
There we go.
But
I will just say, Ezra, I am so glad that you also blanked on a question because that would have been major
I'm sitting
awkward
there going,
burgers for me.
Wait, these two blanked? What?
Yeah.
To take this back to wrestling for one moment, as Bully Ray say, we both share the same idiot brain, but I digress.
Yeah.
well,
Would
I
have been some
just,
massive awkward burgers being served if I was the only one.
I just got a kick out of it when the one person who lives up in Boston and the Boston Red Sox fan got a question to a Yankee. I was laughing. And then when you wrote the thing, I remember the question. I'm like, okay, Mr. Sturtze, a Boston fan remembers his question now.
And then you're like, oh yeah.
The blind
Yeah,
guy.
I am still new to this whole, being on camera and
His
talking
first
to
time with
people.
us.
Yeah, ZZ
I
top
expected
one,
it from him, but not you.
ZZ top
Hey,
1, 2, 3,
look.
and 4.
Rome wasn't built in a day.
No, but it
funny?
was died in
for
a
that
day.
But you know what's funny though? Going off of his thing, you realize the ultimatum, one of those things that doesn't belong here.
You.
I'm the one who doesn't belong here, so I'll leave him. Bye.
We all have facial hair. He don't.
I was expecting when he was having audio troubles for him to come back with Sharpie on his chin real quick.
But yeah, guys, by the way, I think we're going to go past 9 o'clock tonight.
What a
I didn't
great.
even touch the other half of the stuff we wanted to get to. But Carl, do you have any news from the world of sports?
Holding on, holding on.
Hold
Well,
on
if you
for
guys.
what? And actually, one last thing. When he got into the Little League stuff, I was going to ask him if he had any embarrassing Little League stories. Not going to get into that on the show now, Steven. You know exactly what stories I'm talking about.
Oh, I know too.
As you know, Kevin, I don't think you know yet.
We'll set that for out the air.
Yeah, Kevin, we'll tell you later when John isn't in the room.
Oh, so a little bit of shinfo. Gotcha.
Yeah. But
You know
yeah,
what? I'm going to start with NBA.
Okay.
So
Because I'm going to end on hockey. There's a reason why.
Oh boy. Okay.
So, as you heard over the week, that one of the Miami Heat's guys, Myers Leonard, he said some anti-Semitic slur. So he got fined $50,000 and suspended for 1 week. NFL player from the New England Patriots, Mr. Julian Edelman, decided to send him a letter asking to have a sit down and discuss what was said. Either it was said, taken out of content or not. But lately, when certain things are said about a certain religion, Jillian takes a little kind to this. He tries to educate the people about it, which I like that. The education portion really helps times. And also, too, one of the biggest things is the Spurs and the LaMarcus Aldridge agreed that he will not come back to the team.
So can we start him going to the Nets rumors now? So this seems like every All-Star or former All-Star goes to the Nets.
Hey.
I'm just saying, Blake Griffin,
Durant,
Harden. But I digress.
Yeah. So there was some bad feelings between the two of them, and they can't agree to anything, not a buyout or a trade right now. So we'll see what happens with that. Going to baseball, even though we'll get into this a little bit later, because we have our talks of the Central. Some of the headlines that are coming out. Pug's future with the Major League Baseball is kind of on hold right now because there is a sexual assault allegation against him.
oh boy.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And so his career is basically on hold. They will interview the woman this week to figure out where this goes. And Pug is actually a free agent right now. He has no team. So this is kind of Not looking good for him.
Just one thing I was going to add to that. Yasiel Puig has always had kind of an on and off again thing with Major League Baseball. It seems like every team he plays for, he always runs into some sort of issue.
Yep.
I remember when he was with the Dodgers, he ran into a problem. He was with Atlanta, I think, at one point. This isn't. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase this so I don't get.
This is not his first rodeo.
This isn't what he did, what he's being brought up on. Yes, I don't condone it at all. I think it's not right. But this doesn't surprise me. Look at the guy.
No.
But go on.
So now we're going to go to football. The Texans have agreed to a 1-year deal with Mark Ingram.
Yep.
A $3 million deal. $3 million? That's all you want? Okay. I would give him the contract right there on the spot.
Yeah.
Now, the Bills have also did a little maneuvering, and they signed linebacker Matt Milano to a 4-year extension worth $44 million. Okay.
All right.
This is going to be a big one.
That's what she
The
said.
Chiefs,
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl participants, released number 1 overall draft, Eric Fisher, and veteran Mitchell Schwartz, which moves $18 million against their salary cap.
Yeah.
That's a huge move by Kansas City. You letting go Eric Fisher, the guy that has protected Mahomes in his first 3 seasons as a starter.
Yep.
He goes down with the Achilles injury in the AFC Championship game, does not play the Super Bowl against the Bucs, and that was ultimately their downfall. And if Kansas City wants to make another crack at this, John, I've been following the rules that you've been preaching, the gospel as far as playing football. You have to have an offensive line to protect you. You can't just have a quarterback back there that is great as Patrick Mahomes is, or Tom Brady, or any other quarterback that is great. Because if you don't have an offensive line protecting you, you're not going to go very far.
But what's funny is
And-
we bring up the fact that Fisher got released. I can look at 2 teams who can easily pick him up, and it would help their offensive lines tenfold. And if you know me well enough, you know what 2 teams I'm thinking of.
Well, we know one. It's a spoiler.
Which one is it, though?
The Giants.
And who's the other one?
Answer that yourself.
The Jets.
The Jets.
He goes to one of those 2 teams, especially you put him on that Giants offensive line with, the rookies they have from last year, Solder, can help a lot.
Shoulder is actually a rookie to the Giants team, but he's really not. He's
I
a
know.
veteran in this NFL.
Oh,
I
and
know.
Tom Brady, for God's sakes.
He played with
Right.
Brady.
He came from the school of Belichick.
Guys, if Eric Fisher does get signed by a team after getting cut, he won't play this season since he had an Achilles tear.
Correct.
Correct.
So anybody signing him essentially understands that they're going to have X amount of cap dollars associated to a guy who won't suit up for that year.
Correct.
That's
Now-
going to be a tough pill to swallow for a team.
Now here's another big release. Saints released veteran cornerback, not quarterback, cornerback
You can hear Carl.
Jenkins.
Whoa.
Janoris Jenkins, former Giant.
Yep.
He was due $11.2 million this year. It saves $7 million against the salary cap.
Yeah, a lot of teams are having to make those tough cuts. I know the Giants just released one of their longtime guards, Evan Zittler, I think his name is, because a lot of teams are getting screwed over right now by the whole salary cap right there now, and
Yeah,
I think-
the
I think
salary
we're gonna
cap
see more-
dropped to 182.5.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a lot more teams cut big name players quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Vikings just yesterday released their offensive tackle Riley Reif, which opened up 11 million in cap space on their part.
Right.
Carlos Dunlap in Seattle was another casualty of the cap.
And he restructured contracts on the Cowboys side of things. They restructured the contracts of 3 different players: Zach Martin, Tyron Smith, and Lael Collins. By restructuring the contracts, they opened up $17 million worth of cap space for the Cowboys.
Yep.
Yeah, but I think also what we're forgetting is a lot of the reason why the salary cap was lowered. Where did the NFL make their money last year?
Wasn't fans.
TV deals. That's it.
That's pretty much it.
TV deals,
rights,
advertising dollars.
So unfortunately, because of the fact they made no profit last year, very little, something had to face the consequence of it, and it was salary cap.
Well, it's the same reason why MLB's hot stove free agency period really wasn't all that much of a hot stove this year, because a lot of teams were not making a ton of money on concession sales, ticket sales, having fans in the stands. You know, this pandemic in this last year really has done not forever lasting damage, but it's definitely done some damage for the next year or more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're going to start seeing, before we get back to your news update, Carl. I think that a lot of these leagues are going to, as far as these teams, are going to really suffer with big time players having to leave teams because it's the money, that they lost and stuff. It's unfortunate. Continue.
So now we're going to go into. I'm going to keep my rant for a little bit longer, so don't worry about that, guys. Trust me, you're going to love mine. But we're going to go into hockey. And the St. Louis Blues signed goalie Jordan Binghamton to a 6-year, $36 million extension. Ooh. Why would you pay $36 million for 6 years? I always would say give him 3 years, but that's me. Perrin practices with the Rangers 2 weeks after taking their leave. So that's interesting there. But now I'm going to give it over to Kevin.
So last week, because of COVID times and all these seasons, this season long, a lot of games in the NHL have been 2-game sets, both being in one arena. So last week, Bruins are playing at home at the TD Garden against the Washington Capitals. We know Alex Ovechkin is the big player on the Washington Capitals. Wednesday night's game, Trent Frederick, Boston Bruins forward, was able to get under Ovechkin's skin enough that Ovechkin gave him a little love tap to the nether regions of Trent Frederick. Frederick obviously goes down. Ovechkin gets a penalty, but because it's Ovechkin, the refs decided to give Frederick a penalty as well, because, that's just, it's Ovechkin. We got to protect our boy, got to protect him. Can't have him alone in the box, which is another topic altogether. So then you go to Friday's game last week, and during the game, you have Tom Wilson, forward for the Washington Capitals. He proceeds to see Brendan Carlo, Bruins defenseman, up against the boards playing the puck with his head down. Brandon Carlo's tall guy is about 6'5" or so, big bruising defenseman. And Tom Wilson from about 20 feet away skates in, puts his right shoulder into the left shoulder of Brandon Carlo, and then proceeds to have the right shoulder continue up and hit into the head of Brandon Carlo, crunching the head in between the shoulder and the glass boards. Brandon Carlo's immediately holding his head, going down on his knees. He skated off on his own power, fortunately, but he was ended up taken to a local hospital, and he was released overnight. He's still feeling effects today, almost a week later. My biggest problem with this, the hit got no penalty called, and you even had the refs stand there and they conferenced. So you're thinking, oh, something's going to happen. They're going to give Tom Wilson a major penalty because there's an injury, or they're going to give him a 5 in a game misconduct and he's out. Nothing. They punted on that call. No call given to Tom Wilson. So the start of the second period, Bruins captain Patrice Bergeron has some words with Tom Wilson, along with forward Brad Marchand. I then saw after the game that Bergeron refused to go and say what he said to Tom Wilson. I equate that to knowing that Bergeron is a very diplomatic, upstanding citizen, that he probably told Tom Wilson, button it up or we'll button you up. And they definitely buttoned Tom Wilson up because Ryan Tenorti, I believe, well, forget his first name at the moment, Tenorti, claimed off of waivers, playing in his second game, goes and fights Tom Wilson at the towards the start of the second period. Obviously, they both go for 5 minutes for a fighting major. Tom Wilson comes back into the game. Tom Wilson gets to another fight with Trent Frederick, which just popped me pretty big because Trent Frederick is smiling while he's fighting Tom Wilson. Now the refs are saying, okay, we got to do something about this. This is getting out of control. So you're choosing now, after the damage has been done, to actually do something. It's like, just go in the locker room and let the boys play at this point, because you guys failed at your jobs. Those are two guys that I would just love to go and put back into ref camp or something like that. To not call a penalty on Tom Wilson and to conference and then decide to still not call a penalty, even though it was clearly boarding, clearly roughing, clearly deserved a game misconduct, clearly deserved to be a major penalty. Like the refs let people down in that game. They let the game get to the way it was at the end of the second and third period. Bruins won that game 5-1. They were leading 5-0. That is obviously the best way to go and handle it. They also were a little extra chippy during that game. Last weekend, NHL Player Safety Administration had a in-person meeting, which is how we're having our meeting here through Zoom, due to COVID times. Tom Wilson suspended for 7 games. He chose not to appeal the suspension. You have Washington fans claiming that it was not a dirty hit. You have other fans in the league. No, it was a dirty hit. And Tom Wilson's got a history of doing this, his last suspension being for 20 games. So congrats to the NHL Player Safety Administration. You guys went and did the right thing by suspending him and kind of helping out a little bit to mitigate this. But it just speaks to the problem with officiating in the NHL, where there are some games where they're on everybody's ass about every last penalty, and then there's other games where, oh, that guy decapitated the other with a stick? Oh well. Okay, well, the puck's over there. We'll just go watch that instead. Nothing to see here. Move along, you looky loose. Like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing here, folks? What are we doing here? Why? It just grinds my gears to go and see the most consistent part of a referee's job, being inconsistent, especially when it comes to player safety. I mean, I've gone and seen some of the worst hits to Bruins players, to Flyers players, you name it. I've seen some pretty bad headshots. They changed the rules. They created the safety administration. They're trying to go and help make the game safer. But if you're going to have refs doing what they did last Friday, are you really trying to go and police the game? Because let me tell you something. The players police the game pretty well by fighting. So if you're going to try to police the game with the refs and not have the players fight, but then the refs don't actually police the game, let the players do what they've been doing for years, for hundreds, about 100 years, a little more than that. Let them go. Let them fight. Mm-hmm. Because you know what? Fighting players, the goons, they have their place, and it's on the fourth line or on the bench doing absolutely nothing until they're called for.
Did it feel good to get that rant out?
Yeah, it felt good. I might have another one later. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Once we get to baseball talk, Tanyon covered it a teeny bit after Todd's question, and I almost went off then.
Oh boy. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Ooh.
Anybody else who has a scheduled rant? Want to get to it now? The way Carl just said that reminds me of like that annoying kid in the back of the classroom who wants to try to like throw something at the teacher. Goes, "I did it!
He sounds like a gremlin.
For some reason, I just kept putting in my head it was an episode of Family Guy way back where Peter's in the classroom for like a parent-teacher conference or open house or what have you, and he's just going, oh, Miss Clifton, 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 Miss Clifton.
Yes, Baldy, the floor is yours.
Yes, Carl, go ahead.
So I've got some major fucking issues with the goddamn Washington football team.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Oh, boy. Hold on. Okay. Oh, floor is yours. Take it away.
All right.
After 50 fucking years of having cheerleaders, they decide to disband the fucking cheerleaders for goddamn co-ed dancers. Get your fucking goddamn shit straight. Bring back the cheerleaders because that's what people want to see. Not this co-ed bullshit. You goddamn fucking assholes. Wow. And also at the same time, pick a fucking name. I'm done.
Okay.
Well, I don't.
Hijacker,
We
if you're
cut
watching,
the show here, right? Because I mean, there's nothing better than that one.
Hijacker, if you're watching us or listening to Discord, you could cut Kevin's clip into his own thing. Carl's, not to try to give you more work there, but yeah, Carl's deserves to be his own clip.
Well, I don't know what's worse, losing cheerleaders with that bullshit or being Michael Jordan and going down a hole in Space Jam playing golf.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Johnny.
Uh-oh.
We're going to get to the baseball talk in momentarily, but I have to get this off my chest.
Oh.
And trust me, it's a lot of chest.
Thanks, Ezra.
Oh.
Now, many of us grew up watching the original Space Jam, correct?
Yes.
Or have at least seen it before, correct?
Hey, I actually saw it when I was a kid. Loved the movie. Classic. Instant classic. It was.
Okay. Now, everybody knows they're coming out with Space Jam 2.
Yes.
I think either later this year or early next year. And we all know LeBron James is going to be in it, yada, 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 all that.
Yes.
It came out last week that they're actually cutting somebody from that movie. And they're cutting this person for sexual misconduct. Now, I want this to sink into everybody's head there who's watching us on YouTube or listening to us on Discord. They cut somebody from the movie for sexual misconduct. You want to take a guess who?
Pepe Le Pew.
That's right. They cut Pepe Le Pew for sexual misconduct. This whole thing of this cancel culture thing is getting out of hand. Pepe Le Pew has been a character since 1945. And now in 2021, also now it's a bad thing? I'm sorry. What was wrong with him in the 50s, 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, 2000s? That now all of a sudden it's an issue? Get your head out of your asses there and realize you're not going to be able to rewrite history like this. There was a comment said last night to me off air at dinner by my dad, and I thought it was a perfect line. He said, what should end up happening, and he was joking by this, with everybody wanting to cancel everything, is cancel the entire history, all that, and just start off next year as year one, with the way that everybody wants history to be. Because apparently you're going to get rid of the character who's been around since 1945. This to me is mind-boggling.
John, when you broke the news to us on our pre-show Zoom meeting on Monday, I could not believe it. I was like, what in the blue hell has gotten into people? Why are we canceling a cartoon character that has never done such shenanigans like this? Give me a break. Come on.
By the way, if you saw us on YouTube, I did just chuck a bottle across the room.
Again?
Yeah.
Wonderful. And you know what? While we're on top
Where's it
of
gonna end up
ranting,
this time?
while we're on the topic of ranting for a second, I need to get something on the top of my chest.
Go ahead.
So,
Blind
Need to
rant
find it.
time.
if you can find it, Ezra, blind guy rant. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen.
He's finding it. Hold up.
All right. What?
Yes.
Got it in his sight. Wait for it. Wait for it.
Wait for it or wait for it? I couldn't understand your accent there, Steven.
Anyways, so
Hold on. 1 second.
Yeah, 1 second.
1 second. I'll let you know. He's
Yes,
trying
you
to
will.
find it.
Let's go on with the rant. I'll find it. Don't
all
worry.
right. Anyways, so as you all know, I said in the opening pre-intro before today's show that if you thought that the news in the North American sports couldn't get any crazier, well, I think we just broke the wall with this one, with Dak Prescott getting a 4-year, $160 million contract with the Dallas Cowboys. And yes, he has had some pretty good seasons with the Dallas Cowboys on and off through the years. But last year and the year before, he was complaining about, I need to have a lot of money in me pocket. I need to have this, need to have that. And then last year, he has an injured, shortened season, unfortunately. And then this week, you're going to pay this guy $160 million. And I'm sorry, this guy is not even worth the money he's asking for. What has he done in his career besides lose one playoff game against Green Bay in 2017? They blew the fucking game. Aaron Rodgers throws a game, clutch pass to get the kicker, Mason Crosby, into field goal range to win the game. What have you done, Prescott, besides choke? You haven't done nothing. You're keeping the tradition of the Dallas Cowboys like Tony Romo is doing, giving games away. And now you're asking for all this money. What have you done? You haven't done nothing. You haven't done nothing. You've been sitting on your ass, not making the playoffs for the past 3 seasons. Patrick Mahomes was paid that money. And at first I'm like, why the hell are you paying this guy this kind of money? And then he takes Kansas City to a second straight Super Bowl. So I say it right here, right now, even though they lost their Super Bowl, trying to repeat as champions. Patrick Mahomes is worth the money. Dak Prescott, you, my friend, are worth a literal piece of shit. You are nothing. Nothing. You will do nothing. You're overrated. You will fail with the Dallas Cowboys because you think you're all that in a bag of chips. You have other great players on that team, like Elliott, like Cooper. You are nothing. You will fail, you greedy bastard.
Ezra?
I have one more little rant in me.
Hold on a second. Ezra gets the rant tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, this is right.
Oh, great. What should I rant about? Because I'm the nicest human being on the face of the planet. As evident by my jokes to Steven and them. To be honest with you, the one thing I could rant about would be something that's been bugging me for almost 15 years now. And that's the inconsistency of the Bears organization to find a quarterback. Give me a break. You had some good quarterbacks. You had Kyle Orton, who wasn't that bad. You had Rex Grossman, who took us to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
What do? You trade him away for the king of interceptions, Mr. Jay Cutler. A man who goes to throw his toilet paper in his shopping cart and he gets picked up by the shopper next to him. Are you kidding me? It took us nearly a decade to fix the problem? Are you kidding me? And then we got Trubisky. And Trubisky, I had faith in the guy. But then when I realized he's too scared to throw the damn ball,
right?
And when he tries to run, he gets some good results, but half the time he fumbles too. I mean, he did butt fumble like Mark Sanchez, but I digress. Anyways, the Bears organization has got to get their head out of their ass and realize that you can have as many good defensive players, you can have as many offensive linemen as you want. It takes more than one section to build a team. That's something you guys have been talking about for weeks, months now on all fronts. And that is that we need a better quarterback, a guy who has all the tools, who can run, who can read plays, who can read open lanes and screens, and also who can run efficiently. Like what the fuck? Like we look in all these places, we find these guys who either can't throw, can't run, don't know how to throw to their own team, or throw in the end zone to the other team. Give me a break. Come on, get your head out of your asses. Think right. Get us a quarterback that can get us somewhere, instead of us being the laughing stock of the NFC North.
Okay. I have one more thing to say.
Now your turn, Johnny.
And we'll get to Major League Baseball. I know we're going on overtime tonight, but at this point, I mean, evidence of the fact I threw a freaking bottle across the room.
Again.
The time really doesn't matter tonight. Now, we've been talking a lot about the NFL tonight, bits and pieces. And there was a thing that came out from NFL.com. The New York Giants may pass on Saquon's option. Now, I want to read this first. General Manager Dave Gettleman says the team will have to see Saquon Barkley healthy first, with so much unknown about his durability before picking up his fifth-year option. Now, I understand the mentality. You don't want to pay the guy a lot of money because you don't know what you're going to get from him. But just think about this. For the New York Giants, the Eli era is over. Right now, who's the face of this franchise? I'm being dead serious right now. Who's the face of this franchise?
Nobody.
But it could be Saquon. I said it could. And the fact that you're going to sit there and possibly decline his option and possibly get rid of him, I'm sorry. You have somebody here who's basically a quasi Hall of Famer. Not saying he's a first ballot, but he'll definitely get to Canton at some point. You're going to let him walk out the fucking door? Are you stupid, New York Giants? I think this is mostly the gentleman. I'll get a lot of heat tonight with New York sports. Holy crap. Gentlemen,
what?
If you're listening to this and you can see my face, think this thoroughly. Because you get rid of Saquon, just hand in your retirement papers right now, old man, because you're done.
All right.
All I have to say.
Okay. Hold on.
Are we trying to top each other's rants?
No. Now that you brought up Barkley, I want to ask you guys in here: do you think that if he does not get injured, could he be considered a Hall of Fame caliber player?
Absolutely, because I've said it a while now. I think he's Barry Sanders of the modern age.
Kevin?
I mean, he's only in what was this? Was this year 2 for him or year 3?
Year 3.
Year 3, and he got hurt. I mean,
yeah.
Let's go and see what year 4 looks like, because we all christen Ezekiel Elliott as the next Walter Payton, as the next Gale Sayers, the next Emmett Smith, and look what he's done really since. He's really not done much. So let's maybe give it a year when he's back healthy and maybe with a competent offense. One that doesn't have Daniel Jones as the quarterback is optimal, but that's neither here nor there at this point.
Carl?
Hell, if the Giants want, they could take Cam Newton. They could take Cam Newton. Just take him. Just take him.
Johnny wants to say something. Go right to John.
Oh boy.
Just take him. I don't want him.
Why
the
fuck would we take him? He's injury prone and he sucks ass.
No, the Giants could have him. I don't want him anymore.
No.
If the
We don't
Patriots
want
go
him.
and re-sign Cam Newton, I'm done.
We don't
I'm
want
done
him. Kevin, listen to me. I'm talking for Giants fans right now. We don't want him.
I don't care. Take him.
Let's give it to the Jets. not to us.
The Jets have enough misery. The Giants need to share in it.
No.
They had Eli. That was the misery there.
No. Kevin. Is your head filled with New England clam chowder?
Your head's filled with Flex Seal, John.
Seriously, we don't want him. He can't play. He sucks. At least Daniel Jones, we can work around him. Good guy. You're trying to get the Yankees in there, kid.
This is the guy that on national TV who had clear shot at the end zone, and he got tripped up by a ghost. I don't know.
Oh, and no, we don't.
Okay, hold on.
Of Eli Manning or Mark Sanchez tasting butt meat in a fumble.
Hold on, John,
Wow.
hold your horses. Okay, so we're talking about Cam Newton here, and Kevin's onto something here. Cam Newton had a chance to get that fumble with Carolina against the Broncos in the Super Bowl when they lost 24-10. You mean to tell me that when a ball goes down and you fumble it and you're not going to have the balls to jump on it, it's the Super Bowl. Cam Newton is a disgrace. He is overrated. He had one really good season. Otherwise, what has he done? To me, he's done nothing. So Dirk, go take her.
The only thing he's done right is dress like a goddamn girl.
The only thing I know how to do is be Superman. I'm a Valkyrie as Superman. I'm going to have my cape on. I'm going to do whatever I can to be me.
Hold on. Time out for a minute. First of all, I gotta say you are right, Steve. You are right on that. Number two, why do you sound like Mr. Beaker from the Muppets?
Hold on. I just pulled up his career numbers here. He has his touchdown interception is 190 to 118. He has a completion percentage of 60.1. He has a passer rate of 85.8. Yes, he rushes for a lot. Congratulations. But the Giants want to be a good team, not a team that sucks for 30 fucking years. Look at the Jets.
So many F-bombs.
Holy crap.
And the glasses come off. Perfect.
Is it safe to say I have a lot of anger?
Yeah,
Oh.
chink.
Yeah, no, I think it's safe to
Oh,
say.
that was
mean-
phenomenal. A Boston and a New York guy fighting over a quarterback. That sucks.
Oh my.
Quarterback that neither one wants. Like, I'm
Give it
sorry.
to the Jets.
No, look, they have Sam Darnold. They could have had Trevor Lawrence if they, knew how to lose. Look, Cam Newton, I was excited last season. I figured, hey, look, it's another MVP quarterback. He played in the Super Bowl. He's pretty good. The shoulder might be a bit of a problem. Oh, it was more than a bit of a problem. It was a big, big problem. He was throwing at players' feet more often than Tom was because he didn't have a receiving core. And Cam didn't have a receiving core.
Hold on, Statman. I want you to realize one thing. You want him to come to the Giants. The way he plays, he won't make it in New York. You think
Perfect for him.
You think he got
Because
eviscerated
the
in New
Giants
England?
and Jets suck.
And you know what? This is payback for 2007 and 2011.
Oh, grow the
All
hell
right?
up! Grow the hell up! I knew
Okay.
that boss was coming. Grow the hell up!
Hey,
Seriously.
look, the only reason the Patriots lost 2007, the other day I saw a tweet
Because
that
of the
said that,
goddamn fucking helmet catch.
well, that too. But the other day I went and saw a
boo-hoo-hoo.
tweet that went and said, sports fans have great mental health. Oh, that is such bullshit. Are you kidding me? For years, I have gone and said the reason the Patriots lost in Super Bowl 42 and are the worst 18-1 team in existence is because they felt they were so good after the AFC Championship game that they elected to have a local high school team represent them in the Super Bowl. And that's why the Giants lost.
Stop
I had myself
complaining.
convinced of that
You guys
for
have
years
won
to get
6
over that
Super
loss.
Bowls. Stop fucking complaining.
Man,
I'm going to complain.
Man, I gotta say, this rant segment has blown up more than Jason Pierre-Paul's fingers.
Holy shit. Kevin, stop complaining. You guys won 6 fucking Super Bowls.
You took 19-0 away.
Oh, boo hoo hoo!
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I
And
love it.
he's throwing shit still.
It's gonna be almost 11 by the time we get to the
Oh,
get
dear
to
Christ.
the
Dear
NL
Christ.
Central.
Dear Christ, this is as long as the Tool album, or when they made their last album. It took them 13 years.
No,
Wait. There was a good Tool album.
Hey,
We want another rant
watch it.
out of me.
Oh, here we go.
Right now. Texas Rangers. Are you guys run by idiots? Keep the politics out of this for a second. It was announced yesterday or a couple days ago, that when Texas opens up their stadium, it will open up to 100% capacity. And I looked at their numbers. They hold roughly over 40,000 people. I don't give a shit if it's mask or no mask or underwear, no underwear. I don't care. 40,000 people when we're still in the middle of a fucking pandemic. Are you kidding me? 20, 30%? Okay, fine. The ones in New York's getting right here. But Texas, really? Full 40,000 people? Jesus Christ.
And I completely get what you're coming from, and I see why they decided to do this when the entire state opened up. And that is the reason that it's not even the reason that people want to come to a game. It's the fact that people need to work, and I completely get this is out politics aside, all this stuff. This is not a smart move at all, and I get that because it's still
Dude, their numbers are still increasing every day.
Yeah, and like I said, I agree, and with everything, it's just too soon. And I understand people have got to work. I understand, from the concession guys to the janitors to the popcorn vendor to the beer vendor. I get that they got to work. They got to make money. The stadium's got to make money. The organization's got to make money.
Okay,
But what's people need to make money, but then also you're putting people's lives at risk when not even a third of the state has been fully vaccinated yet.
Here's the thing.
It's not a smart move,
I just pulled up the cases in Texas right now. As of March 10th, they have 5,350 new cases, and the 7-day average is up. It's up now to 4,909. Texas, if you're listening to me, and I feel like I said this, I'm a broken record tonight. Get your head out of your ass. Realize that this pandemic is not over yet, and cut back now before it's too late. Because you get to April, May, June, and July, especially come June and July, once school's done, and you have full capacity, don't be surprised if the numbers go back up in Texas.
I'm waiting for that phone to go flying.
Don't worry, it'll happen.
Holy crap.
I think before
All
that
right.
happens, we should maybe segue into what we want to talk about with baseball before John has an aneurysm. And I have one too from laughing hard at John having an aneurysm.
By the way,
That was a nice segue into what we're fixing to actually talk about.
hold on. One last thing I just want to hijacker.
Maybe they can seal the aneurysm with Flex Seal.
If you want to cut up me going like a crazy man, go right ahead. Go ahead.
But to be even better, if he wants to cut up the entire or whatever 30
Rant. Just put up just all the rants together. That's perfect.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. I'm really letting out a lot of anger tonight.
Oh, that's good. That's
Hey,
good.
it's okay. It's okay. Now we can be calm as we talk about the NL Central.
And we're going to turn that over to Israel.
Ezra, the floor is yours. I'll be back in a second because I have to go clean up my mess.
Okay, while John here goes and gets his therapy for his anger issues, we're going to talk about the NL Central. The NL Central, so far from what I've been reading on different news sites and different reporters, is that this division is not exactly looked fondly upon because they feel like that whether it's the bullpen, the outfielders, infielders, the rotations, all this, that they feel like that it's just not up to snuff from last year. There was a stat that I had read, from this website here. It's called it's Fangraphs. They do projections for whether it be certain odds on baseball games, certain odds on divisions. One of the this is what they put there. They place all 5 NL Central clubs below 500 this year. The division's combined World Series odds as of this point are 3.8%. That's across all 5 teams, and it is easily the worst for any group in the majors. I mean, that's of course this is all this is all what you would call it, all speculation, all opinion. My opinion, the team that is going to be the force, I think it's going to be St. Louis, because St. Louis just got they just got Arenado. Arenado was an 8-time Golden Glove winner, and a former Platinum Glove winner. He is third most all time in that position for Golden Gloves victories. So I think that combined with him, along with the bullpen that he has behind him, I think the Cardinals are going to be a force. The Cubs, which of course is a team I'm biased by, of course, they just of course brought back Jake Arrieta, who was a part of the 2016 World Series team. He had been gone for a couple seasons, and now he's back. Kyle Hendricks to me is one of the best starters, not just in NL Central, but I think in the entire National League. He's very consistent. He's always on top whenever he gets out there. I want to get you guys' opinion on who do you think is the team that's going to be the team to beat in the NL Central? Steven, you want to take it?
I'll take it first. So John can actually keep composing himself after that rant. So I think that St. Louis has the best chance out of all these teams in the NL Central to do something, because St. Louis for years and years and years has been a very consistent ball club. They know how to run their team with their bullpen and the pitching and their hitters. They always come prepare to the game to win the game, to do good, because they're a well-run organization.
Yeah.
John, you okay over there?
Yeah. I just one quick thing. I picked up the bottle I threw, and the bottle ended up on the other side of the room, like a couple of feet away from me. The fact I made it all the way over there is kind of surprised.
Okay.
Hey, what do you know? You're a better ball thrower than the Jets.
But as your answer,
David Jones.
I'm not going to answer that one because I don't want to have another freaking stroke here. No, but as your answer your question, I think it's going to be St. Louis, and here's why. I mean, Tanyon kind of mentioned this when we had him on earlier. Yeah. Look at Yadier Molina. You want to talk about a guy who he's been in the league for a number of years, and the guy freaking is productive every year. And the Cardinals always that one team that they don't do well in the first half. But everybody thinks, okay, this is it. This is the end for them. And then come like late June, early July, getting ready for the All-Star break, all of a sudden they start turning it up. And all of a sudden they make that run. So I think for me, it's going to be St. Louis.
And look at their pitching rotation. I mean, look at the rotation. They got Jack Flaherty, of course, who's the ace of the team. You got Adam Wainwright, who is still with St. Louis, who's one of the best in the game. You've got Miles Nicholas, and you got Kwang Hyun Kim, who last season had a 1.62 ERA. Dude is impressive. To me, they got a strong rotation for this team when it comes to pitchers. The only question is, there's a couple of questions. The main one is about Adam Wainwright. He just turned or is turning 40 this year.
Yeah.
How is he going to hold up? And you know as well as I do, being sports fans, especially in these physical sports like baseball that requires a lot of tension, especially on the shoulder, the arm, and the elbow. How long is this going to hold up? How long is he going to be able to have the velocity, have the control over his pitching? And, and how many games is he going to be able to play at that high level that he usually plays at? Because as you know, when you turn that age 40, 41, 42, you begin to slow down. So I'm wondering, can he keep that consistency that'll help keep St. Louis towards the top, if not the top of the division.
He's going to be the one thing though. But I mean, you went through the picture before. I think he can essentially take that mentor role and he can kind of be the one guy who can kind of be both the starting pitcher and a reliever type of pitcher. Because like we heard when Tanyon was on before, some pitchers like to pitch every day, others like to do but also like with Adam Wainwright though, he's been in the league, I can remember since 06. May have been longer than that, but I think it was since 06. He's always been a dominant force. And like I said before, to me, St. Louis is that team between the pitching, the hitting. I think they're the team you got to worry about. But Carl, what about you? Who do you think is going to be the force? Who?
Cubs.
Oh, you were muted before.
Nope. Chicago Cubs is the one that I'm thinking is the one that's going to take it.
Ooh.
Go on.
I mean, here. Let me give you a little. You got pitchers that are Jake yeah. Arrieta, thank you. Phenomenal pitcher. You got Kyle Hendricks, Trevor Williams. You can't ask Greg Kimbrell, Cole Stewart. Right there, that's a phenomenal pitching staff. You also have Alec Mills. Can you ask for a better pitching staff? No. That's the team that's going to take it.
Yeah, the Cubs do have a very strong pitching rotation this year. I expect big things from them, especially when it comes to that rotation, because it's as long as we have that good lineup of pitchers that are going to be able, like I said, same thing with the Cardinals, to keep a steady flow and are able to, we could change it up on certain players and make it harder for them to hit those balls. I think we have a good chance. The Cubs have a good chance of making the playoffs again, and maybe even making the World Series again. Personally, as a fan of the Cubs, I'd love to see it. St. Louis is going to be tough to beat beyond belief for sure because of the staff they have. Mm-hmm. But if there's anybody that could take them, it's their arch rivals, the Cubs.
Yeah, but I think the thing is also, look at that NL Central. Obviously, I just want to pull up exactly here. It always seems like even with that division, you look at the Cubs, they're always a team that you're looking at. But, you also got, you got St. Louis. You have the teams there. It won't be an easy division.
No.
I think it's safe to say.
It's one of the harder divisions.
Yeah.
I also remember when the NL Central used to be a 6-team division.
Huh?
I think it was Houston.
Yes, Houston before they flipped over the AL and joined the West. It was the 16 race.
Yeah. But I know Cincinnati right now is a team that's they're kind of in a rebuilding mode right now.
Yeah, every division, both AL and NL, are all 5-team divisions.
Yeah. But I think with the way the NL Central is panning out, if I had to put it on paper right now, I think you got to look at St. Louis. I think Chicago. At another team, and Kevin, I'll get to you in a second on yours. I think another team people have to look out for is Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's a young team. There is a team that they may not make it, but damn well they're going to play fucking spoiler.
Mm-hmm.
But Kevin, what about you? Who do you think is going to be the force in the NL Central this year?
I've read articles that it's a 4-team race. I've read that it's a 3. I think it's more of a 3 between St. Louis, the Cubs, and Milwaukee. But this seems to be the year that everybody's doubting St. Louis, and every time that they have either been looked upon as an underachiever or have been doubted upon, they've gone on to win the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I would hitch a wagon, and I would love, if this really is going to be Albert Pujols' last year in Major League Baseball with the Angels, and if this is potentially going to be the last year for Yadier Molina, wouldn't that just be an awesome story to go and see Albert Pujols and Yadier Molina on opposite teams in the World Series? Those are the two dark horse World Series opponents I have for this season, because I really do think that St. Louis can go far, especially with Nolan Arenado, which will be a tricky thing to watch because St. Louis fans are going to be expecting the offense to go along with the defense, but they all forget Denver's the mile high city. So the air's thinner, the ball travels farther. Now you're going to be in St. Louis, where's the plains? It's a fairly level playing field, and the ball's not going to go and travel as far as it used to.
One team. You talked about Milwaukee. You talked about how it's basically 3 or 4 team race, and they're involved in that race. You talk about they got in the 1-2 slot. 1-2 punch basically for the rotation. You got Brandon Woodruff and Corbin Burns, who Woodruff was an All-Star in 2019. He's got one of baseball's best fastball metrics. And then of course just in the outfield you got of course Christian Yelich who's planning on returning to top form, and then Lorenzo Cain who had sat out basically the bulk of the season last year. He's coming back. Mm-hmm. Now the question about Lorenzo is, will he be back? Because the thing is, they don't want to rush him back. They want to be able to give him more time, get him acclimated, and get him back without rushing. Because if they rush him, injuries could happen, anything could happen. And a lot of people are questioning whether Lorenzo will be fully ready at the start of the season, to be ready to go back to his, be at top form once again. So.
Yeah, but Azure, you're also forgetting, didn't they just sign Jackie Bradley Jr.?
Yeah.
Yep.
Milwaukee, so they got a stacked outfield there with Yelich, Lorenzo Cain, and Bradley. It's going to make things interesting. And Milwaukee.
Stacked defensively. Offensively, Jackie Brown Jr., you're going to, oh, hooray, April, he's great. May, oh, why is he on the team? June, hooray, he's great again. And it just brings out just the absolute anger in me that the stat nerds have taken over sports. They just I can't stand it. I can't stand that all these different stats. Well, he hits for power and he goes and hits 28 home runs every time he's at the bat, but he strikes out 300 times in the season. But he hits those home runs, like Tanyon went and said earlier tonight. And it baffles my mind that we're just letting all these stat nerds, all these numbers and analytics guys come in and ruin the game. I mean, you saw it last year with Blake Snell with Tampa Bay in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
Why he's on San Diego now. He's pitching lights out in what was that game 6, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes. He's pitching lights out. And you're going to take him out of the game because, well, the numbers guy we have upstairs says that after the 3rd rotation through the order, his numbers might go down. Yeah, but if the dude is feeling it, shouldn't you go and trust your player on the field? That's what the game was like for hundreds of years. And now
how many times did they leave a guy in that shouldn't have been left in?
Right. And then also,
it's like, now we're going to go and change the game up because, some guy with a degree in analytical counting of numbers goes and says, well, we need to go and take this guy out because, well, his numbers don't really add up. Oh, shut the fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
hashtag get rid of stat nerds.
By the way, so Kevin, basically what you're saying is Jackie Bradley Jr. flip-flops more times than heel turns and face turns of Big Show? Or
Yes.
Paul White, as you have to call him now?
Yes.
But yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Ezra, anything else you want to get to the National League Title before we...
Sure, we were talking about the Cubs earlier, and there was a name I forgot to mention that came into the organization this past year. Bye-bye, Kyle Schwarber. Hello, Jock Peterson.
Yeah.
Ooh. Who is a monster slugger.
Mm-hmm.
And he is going to bring some serious power to that Cubs lineup. And he's also going to be playing left, too, in the outfield. So it's good. He basically is going to play the same positions as Schwarber did. But I think Jock is – people say that Schwarber wasn't a great. I think that Jock is an upgrade. And I think he's just better at what he does, and I think he's really going to bring that power that's kind of missing from the Cubs over the past few seasons. Because I know Schwarber has done good. Schwarber's done good, but I think Jacques overall, being who he is, I think he's going to really, really just it's going to help propel the Cubs organization, especially when it comes to power hitting.
Mm-hmm.
You're onto something. You are definitely onto something with this. That dude can go. He is consistent. He knows what he's doing. He's going to make them a whole lot better team with that upgrade.
Yeah, absolutely. Ezra, anything else you want to get to before we
Actually, checking my notes here real quick. Really outside of just a few small things, just about as far as the Pirates, the Pirates of they said that they don't know how many people don't know how many starters make, because as you know, it's basically a lot of these players is open audition right now.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see who's in, who's out, and who joins those veterans or those newly traded players, and see how the chemistry gels in all these teams. NL Central has got a chance to be one of the best divisions in all of baseball, especially with these heavy hitters like a Jock Peterson or Arenado, but even with Christian Yelich coming back from the Brewers and all these different, it's going to be dependent on how well these new players gel with the veterans. I can't wait for this division. I have high hopes for it, and I hope to see either the Cubs or the Cards in the MLB playoffs and in the World Series.
Yeah, absolutely. But guys, I can't believe that freaking rant just actually tired the crap out of me. But man, another great show.
Something I said.
Shut up, Kevin.
Come on, let's not give him the stroke before he leaves here.
Cry baby.
Crybaby. The one that all of a sudden started going off that Daniel Jones was somehow good.
No. Hold on. You kept bitching that we were the ones who entered 19-0 season. You guys have to realize you've won 6 fucking Super Bowls.
Yeah, no, you're
right.
right.
You didn't win 2 of them.
Maybe Eli should come out of retirement and play back for the fucking Giants.
You guys have
so he can go and so he can go and throw more interceptions.
This is funny coming from a guy whose team is led by a guy who dresses like a woman. I digress.
Well, that was
by the way,
there's
nothing wrong with that.
That was only for one season.
There is nothing wrong with that. Ezra is right, and it was also for one season because the Giants should take Cam Newton.
We're not going to take Cam Newton. Stop it right now.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, we have ran out of time.
We ran out of time a while ago, but Ezra, since this was your first show tonight, final thoughts as I try to compose myself and get my voice back.
Sure. While John's blood pressure creeps down to the 180s. No, guys, seriously, I had a lot of fun. This was awesome. I'm kind of a novice when it comes to the world of sports, especially baseball, knowing like analytics and stuff. I'm glad the Statman's here for that. So that way it takes the weight off my shoulders. Thank you for being the sacrificial lamb. No, seriously, guys, thank you so much for the opportunity this week. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was awesome to get to interview a former Cub and a former White Sox player. That's awesome. It was an amazing time. Once again, thank you, John, Carl, Kevin, Steven. You guys
Dude,
rule,
we had a blast with John.
Oh, what a great show.
And I can't wait to be back on with you guys again relatively soon. So
Oh yeah. But Steven, what about you? Final thoughts?
Oh man, just what a great interview, man, with Tanyon, man. I mean, he spoke a lot of truth about the game, and all this other stuff about how the players have really changed. I mean, he hit on that, and I'm like, wow. I mean, like the NBA, the way the players changed, the way they play the game now with the constantly shooting threes and not focusing on their defense and all this stuff. When football players play, he's absolutely right. And just, I mean, my God, I mean, those rants came out of nowhere, baby, and it was just, whew, man, that really, that was what a great show. Always great working with you guys. Ed's a great job, on your first show, first time in the big boy chair. We look forward to having you on this show again very soon. And yeah, we're going to keep on rolling, baby, because next week is a huge week in the world of sports.
We'll get to that in a second. But Carl was the first pain in the ass, but now Kevin's taking that role. But Carl, what about your final thoughts?
Oh, my final thoughts is, guys, as you heard from Tanyon, they have that fund, the 56 Foundation. Please help donate to that. Also, again, get out there, have yourself checked out for cancer, whatever. You don't feel good, just get it checked out. Doesn't matter. And also, too, congratulations, Cam Newton to the Giants. See ya.
Okay. Originally, you were Statman, but now you're pain in the ass. Kevin, go right ahead. Final thoughts?
Oh, I love that I got a new nickname now. And all it took was just, me pontificating that, hey, Cam Newton should go and sign with the New York Giants. In
Pain in
fact,
the ass.
I might go and give him a call.
I can mute you.
Hey, I behaved earlier.
We
Yeah, but
both did.
I just think you're gibberish about Cam Newton to the Giants, but I digress.
So, no, final thought for me is, just keep on doing what you're doing now. And, I know times are tough right now. It's a year since it's all really kind of popped off with the pandemic. But, we've gotten to this point. We're almost to the finish line. I really do, as much as they've been saying for the last 6 months that we're rounding the corner. I really do think that we're now rounding that corner. More and more people are getting vaccinated. We have 3 different vaccines available to the U.S. right now. The president earlier tonight wanted to make sure that all adults were eligible for the vaccine after May 1st. So that way on July 4th, that we would be able to get back to, I'm still going to put it in quotes, normal. I'm really hopeful that we'll be able to get to that point. But it just takes, as much as we've got states that are opening up, whether you feel it's justified or if you feel it's too early, don't worry about what that state's doing. Worry about what you're doing. Always keep yourself focused on you. Don't go and worry yourself about others at all. Just keep focusing on you. Live every day like it's your last, and just make sure you're happy. Or try
especially
to be
when
happy.
Cam Newton goes to the Giants.
Shut up, Wolfie.
Yes.
Shut up.
But, in all seriousness today, Kevin just brought up this Corona thing. And, man, isn't it hard to believe that 1 year ago at 10:59 Eastern Standard Time,
Everything shut down.
everything was shutting down. And I remember the next day, March the 12th, that was the longest day of my life because I was like, what is this? Am I living a nightmare? And unfortunately for the entire nation, the entire world, we were all starting to live that nightmare.
Yep.
And folks, also as well, this Saturday, also the Nation Show, we started this show because COVID.
Yep.
This pandemic started, busted open, announced on March the 11th that they could not do the show the next day from the studios because they said, hey, we're going to be gone for 2 weeks. And what did we do? We decided to get on the Discord server and wanted to talk about professional wrestling, trying to escape from the world that we were fixing to live in for the next year. And who would have thought that? We're going to be here, 2-3 months or 2-3 weeks, we're fine. No, we've been dealing with this COVID crisis for a year. And like Kevin just said, I think we are finally seeing a light at the end of the tunnel because I'm telling you, man, if it was not for a negative like the coronavirus pandemic, I wouldn't have half this stuff. We wouldn't have half the stuff that we're doing. The Nation Show, talking all things wrestling, all the guests that we have had on that show, and tonight and for the past month, we have been doing this. And this is fun. Both of these shows are fun because it gives us something to do to talk about what we love, and that's professional wrestling and sports. And I'm telling you guys, stay positive, stay true to yourself. Don't let no person around you bring you down. As long as you stay true to yourself and who you are, you know who you are. As long as you're staying healthy, staying positive, and most of all, staying happy. That is all that matters. Because as long as you're being a good person to society, we as a nation can pull through. And I think finally, it seemed like a nightmare that kept going on for months and months and months. We are finally starting to get to where we need to be. And that's living our lives and going to concerts and going to sporting events and doing all the things that we love to do.
All right, let me just have. There's a few things I want to get off my chest before we wrap up for tonight. Shut up. Yes, today it's a year ago today when basically, for a lot of people, their world's changed. And one thing I look at, I guess the big positive that came out of this was getting to meet all you guys. Well, maybe not Kevin so much because he's a little bit of an yes, but I just kid. I kid. But in all seriousness, though, I mean, not even that. I mean, there's stuff that I've accomplished even in this past year, even just recently. And if you know me personally, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
And just to piggyback off what Steven said, yeah, be happy because believe me, you want to talk about somebody who's been through freaking hell and back. Shut up, Carl. You want to talk about somebody who's been through hell and back. I'm one of those people. And I bring that up because tomorrow would have been my grandmother's 92nd birthday. And unfortunately, she's not around anymore. She passed away a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I know she's up there right now watching me do the show, watching me make an ass of myself, trying to have me hold a pineapple. But Carl, behave. But Grandma, I want to wish you happy birthday. I know you're up there right now. Just remember, I'm still doing what I'm doing, and to this day, I still can't hold a pineapple. So,
yeah, definitely, man.
But yes, we know what you're saying. I mean, man, I mean, just all the friends that we've all made throughout this pandemic. I mean, it wouldn't be possible without this pandemic. I mean, we have met some of the most incredible people on this planet from across the country, across the world. It's amazing. And getting to do these shows and interview these people and talk to these people, it's amazing. And there's just nothing else to say. I mean, it's just.
And some of the people are crybabies from something that happened over 10 years ago. But I digress.
Cam Newton.
But
it's not showing up.
Nope.
And
I think the other thing also is
the license plate, baby.
The other thing I do want to say is not only have I met great people here, but it's also let me meet a lot of great people outside of here. One of them happens to be my girlfriend. And she's been one of the reasons why I've been able to be happy, because she kind of, being with her has kind of given me that sense of urgency a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to reflect briefly on you. That's just my quick reflection on what it's been like the last year. And
talking about that, I remember last year when March the 12th, when the day that I was listening to Mad Dog Russo talk on his show, and he was talking about, man, just shut the whole country down. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this. And I went to bed. I laid down for an hour and a half and was like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Is our world fixing to do this? Are we fixing to not be able to do nothing for months? And unfortunately, as far as getting out to do things, yes. But man, I mean, I along with everybody else doing this and doing the wrestling show with everybody on the Nation show, man, just having opportunities to do the things that we love, the things that we think that weren't possible, became a reality, became something positive in a darkness like COVID-19, like that pandemic, because it's amazing, when you find something that is positive. And because I've always been going to local shows, going to concerts, playing music with the band that I'm in. And man, when everything shut down, I was like, what the hell am I going to do for the next several months? And then the Nation show started up, been doing that, producing, co-hosting every now and then, doing the voiceovers now, and then doing this sports show for the last month or so. Man, I'm telling you what, even when we get back to a normal world, we are still doing what we're going to do. We're still doing this, baby, because this is something positive. This is something that we can do with the world. This is something that we can do to have fun, with talking wrestling on the Nation show and talking sports on this show. I mean, you're two great shows, a great group of friends doing what we love to do, and we're going to keep on rolling.
Yeah,
this isn't an escape for us from the
Yeah.
reality of what's going on right now.
Absolutely. But last thing I want to say before we get to the end credits here. Obviously to you guys, thank you for making this past year fun and enjoyable. To everybody who's watching us on YouTube and on Discord, thank you. To obviously, like I said before, to my grandmother, I know you're not here right now, but I know you're watching, and to my girlfriend. I know we've only been dating since the start of
And
2021,
Ezra,
but
your father.
yeah, Ezra, to your dad
Yes.
as well. And to my girlfriend, I know we've only been dating right now, but believe me, we've gotten through this whole pandemic so far and the ride going.
And,
But
and also before we go, I just want to say to you guys on here and to everybody out there that is a part of the Nation Show and a part of this show and a part of watching this broadcast, I love every single one of you. I know we bust each other's balls every single day, but damn it, baby, it's all in good fun. This is
Exactly.
this is a blast.
absolutely,
But guys, unfortunately, we're forgetting one group of people that we need to thank every day of our lives.
essential workers,
Not even essential workers.
frontline
Our
responders.
first responders.
Exactly.
Yes.
That includes your military, your firefighters, your police officers, and your EMTs. They don't get the credit they deserve.
No.
Exactly.
Let's take care of them.
Exactly.
Especially during the beginning of this pandemic. I mean, my goodness. I mean, our good friend Christina from Baltimore's finest cop in the world. She was going out along with everybody else that's on the front line working through this. And we're like, oh my goodness, like it takes a lot of guts to do that. And and just God bless every one of them, the police officers, the fire department people, the military.
My wife's
everybody.
cousin was on the front line in the COVID unit. Her uncle is in the COVID unit down in Baltimore.
My cousin works in Aberdeen, North Carolina at a hospital, and he's a respiratory therapist.
Yep.
And unfortunately, he's had to deal with this stuff. And I'm like, dude, kudos to you because you're dealing with this.
Don't forget your sanitation workers and your school custodians and other cleaning jobs.
Yes.
Because we're the ones that at the very beginning, especially me from experience of going into the classrooms at my school, not knowing if it is COVID that I'm cleaning or if it's just normal, everyday kids that grow muck. But going in for those 2 weeks and making sure that everything's clean, making sure everything's sterile, making sure that the kids are brought back to a safe and clean environment, making sure that they're constantly coming back to a safe and clean environment. Let's never go and forget about our cleaners, our custodians, janitors, maintenance workers, because we're the ones behind the scenes. We're the ones that you don't normally see, and we're behind the scenes making sure that everything is working well.
Yep.
Well, attempting to in certain circumstances.
Yep. Absolutely. But guys, we're going like way, way, way over tonight. But honestly, who gives a crap?
Yeah, it's like a 6 overtime basketball game.
I'm going to say this right now. I know we've only been doing the show for a little bit over a month. I think tonight's show was...
This was the best.
Probably the best one we've ever done. On that note, I'm not going to let...
Yes!
Screw you.
Yes!
Hold
Yes!
on. Shut up. Screw you, Baldy. Screw you, Ezra. Screw you, Statman. Blind man, you're okay with me.
What? I was going to say, what did I do? Okay.
Yeah, look at YouTube, though. Look at the YouTube chat.
On that note, folks, this has been another installment of Our Nation Sports Show. Hold on, I just have to make sure we can do this without me screwing this whole thing up now.
Oh, that would be phenomenal.
That's why you're getting Cam Newton.
Shut up. Wait a second. All right.
Oh.
Guys, this has been another installment of Our Nation Sports Show. We'll catch you guys next week as we look at the American League Central. But for Carl, for Ezra, for Statman, for Blind Man, I'm John. Also, want to send a shout out to Tanyon as well for joining us. Seems like an eternity ago that he was on with us. But guys, this has been another great installment of Our Nation Sports Show. We'll catch you guys next week, same time, same channel.
Peace.
Stay hot, folks.